A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. Kroger Tender Ray Beef. It's delicious. Yes, you and your family are due for an exciting experience when you serve Kroger Tender Ray Beef. All around the table, you'll hear everybody saying, delicious. And no wonder. Kroger Tender Ray is the one beef that's always fresh, always tender. You know it's tender because by the Kroger Tender Ray method, the top U.S. government grades of beef are made naturally tender without aging. You know it's always fresh because by the Kroger Tender Ray method, there's no need for wasteful aging, no time for loss of savory juice. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Yet Kroger Tender Ray beef costs no more than ordinary beef. And listen to this. Kroger guarantees it's the best eating beef you've ever served or your money back. So today, plan to treat your family to the one beef that's always fresh, always tender. Treat them to Kroger Tender Ray beef. It's the finest beef value in town. And now, Hearts in Harmony. To others, but not to her, both Johnny Keith and young Dr. Evans have vowed that they will marry Penny Gibbs. It was Johnny who first said,
I don't want Penny to know it yet, not until I think it's right for her to know it, but I'm going to marry that girl, and nothing's going to keep me from it.
Joel, too, expressed his feelings in what were nearly the same words. If Penny has a mind to marry, it can hardly be Johnny, though, for she said to him just yesterday,
Call it whatever you like, Johnny. It isn't the name that matters, but the fact remains that there's a power that turned us away from each other years ago. It kept us apart, and it always will.
It's a bright, clear day in Rothville now, a bright, clear April day. And Penny has driven Nora Lang to the Lang farm for the afternoon. As Penny walks back to her car, Nora's husband, Freddy, calls to her from the barn.
Hey, Gibbsy. Hey, Penny, hold it a minute, will you?
Oh, Freddie.
Hey, you're not going back to town without having a look around the place, are you?
Freddie, you take me on a tour of inspection every time I come out here.
Well, maybe so, but then there's always something new to show you.
Oh, you never start making improvements here, do you?
Oh, the place was pretty run down when Dad and I started to work this place a year ago.
Golly, is it only a year ago? Seems a lot longer.
Well, lots happened. Yeah, lots been done in the last year.
Yeah. Do you know, I can't remember when you didn't have this farm.
Can't either. Seems like it's always been mine. My home, my life. Just about everything.
Yeah, if it's that important to you, Freddie, you'll never do anything to spoil it. Lose it, will you?
Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway.
Just hoping?
Yeah, Gibbsy, I really didn't have anything new to show you. I just want to talk to you about something.
I see.
Got a few minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, not fair to make you stand here. Come on, let's go find a place to sit down.
Oh, it's that serious, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Hey, when's the last time you sat on a rail fence?
I don't think I could sit on a rail fence now.
Oh, come on.
No.
The top rail of a fence is the best chair in the world. Come on.
All right, but don't ask me to hold a straw in my teeth. That'd be too much.
Afraid to go too rural all at once, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no straw. Well, here we are. Come on, I'll help you out.
Yeah, I think you better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here you are.
Couldn't you have picked just a little lower fence?
Well, now, if this fence was much lower, we might as well not have any fence at all. Nice up here, isn't it?
No, it isn't exactly like sitting in an armchair.
Oh, Gibbsy, a man gets lazy in an armchair. His thoughts get slow.
You sound like Jed.
Well, I was talking with him the other day. Maybe his thoughts are catching.
They're well worth catching, Freddie.
Bet they are. Say, Gibbsy, what does a guy do who, well, let's put it this way. How does a guy fight against something he doesn't want to fight?
I don't know what you mean, Freddie.
Well, I mean that Can a guy keep saying no when he doesn't want to say no? Not go batty in the bean?
Look, I still don't understand what you're getting at.
Maybe that's because I'm not getting at it at all. Look, I'm getting myself all mixed up about that girl in the office over there.
Helen?
Yeah.
How do you mean mixed up, Freddy?
Well, one minute I love her, next minute I hate her.
Because you love her?
Yeah. No, I guess not. Look, you see what I mean, don't you? I don't know what I think or feel or anything.
Freddie, if you told Nora that you're in love with Helen...
Oh, no.
Don't you think you should?
No, because I'm not really in love with her. I couldn't be. Honest, Gibbsy, I love Nora. And all this farm, this life.
And you're sure this is what you want? Nora, this farm, this life?
I wouldn't trade Nora for anyone. Or this place for anything in the world.
Then you're not in love with Helen, Freddie.
No. But what is it? I mean, what makes me want to keep her here or think about going away with her if she leaves?
Freddie, you wouldn't do that.
No, I guess I wouldn't. But I'd want to. Gibbsy, if that isn't love, what is it?
I don't know, Freddie. Maybe it's pity. Helen's pathetic in a way. She tries to give an impression that she's hard and independent, but actually she's more like a hurt and frightened child.
Well, she's been plenty hurt, I know that.
Maybe that's why you want to put your arms around her, huh? Maybe you're trying to show her that she won't be hurt by you.
Well...
Freddie, aren't you and Nora both trying to make her feel a little bit more secure? Offering her friendship and a home for that reason.
Well, that was the original idea, you know. And if you'll remember, I wasn't for it at all.
Because you were afraid of all this?
That's right. Yeah, Helen and I were pretty thick back in New York a few years ago. I didn't exactly run out on her. I ran out on the whole gang. I was running away from trouble, you know that. And if I could have, I guess I'd have brought her along to Rossville with me. Yeah, wouldn't that have been something, though?
Well, it certainly would have changed a lot of lives.
Well, that's the funny part. It wouldn't have made any difference at all. I'd have met Nora just the same, and I'd have married her just the same, and we'd own this farm.
Look, Freddie, then you
have...
definitely don't love Helen, so I don't see why you're worried about it.
Well, I tell you what I guess I'm really worried about. It's trouble. Hurting Nora, hurting Helen. And about the whole thing getting too involved.
It needn't get involved, Freddie.
No, it won't if Helen gets out of town and gets out quick. But I can't ask her to do that. It's not fair to penalize her for my faults.
Look, Freddie, I think I understand your trouble. Helen's an attractive girl, but even more than that, she represents freedom to you. The days when you didn't have responsibilities.
Yeah, that's it. Guess there's still plenty of the old good-for-nothing Freddy lying inside me.
We never change completely, Freddie.
I'll say we don't. Much as I love Nora and the farm and everything, I still get the feeling I want to hit the road sometimes. Hit that road and just keep right on going to who knows where. And Helen had hit it with me, too. And together we just... Well, it gets stronger, that feeling does. Every time I think about it.
Freddie, what you have to do is control your feelings. You're right when you say you can't ask Helen to leave. That's no solution. It's being unfair to her, too.
Sure.
What you have to do is build enough strength to resist what Helen means to you.
Gibbsy, you think a guy can resist a thing like that forever? I'm resisting it now. I'm fighting it just as hard as I can.
Freddie, emotions can be controlled. All of us suppress some kind of desire, but it takes a certain amount of intelligence and, in some cases, even a good deal of physical strength. But emotions can be fought, Freddie, and successful. I'll get it.
Good evening, Miss Gibbs.
Why, Mr. Keith, do come in.
How are you, Jenny?
I'm just fine, thanks.
Well, you've got a little sunburn, haven't you? Isn't it a little
Well, I
early?
was at Freddy's farm this afternoon, sitting on a rail fence with young Farmer Lang.
Oh, a chawing on a straw, that cracky.
No, I wasn't the farmer's daughter, only his visitor.
You know, you look good with that extra color in your face.
Thank you.
Makes you look young enough for high school.
Oh, don't I wish it. You know, you're early this evening, and I'm not ready. You going to scold me?
Well, no. I'll read a good book or something. Have you Got a long one?
It won't take me that long to get ready. Freddy's in the living room. Maybe you two farmers would like to talk about crops or something.
Well, I'm not a farmer, Penny. I owned an estate. You notice I said owned?
So you're really giving it up, huh?
I'm giving it away. Frank Carter's contacted my cousin in Rochester and told him I'm turning the inheritance over to him.
Johnny, I don't see how you can get so much up. What's in Rossville?
Now, Penny, let's not argue that again. We had it all out the other day, and I told you why I wouldn't go back to South Africa.
All right. I still hope you won't be sorry.
I told you I never would be. Now, you go on up and get dressed, will you? We have a date tonight, not tomorrow morning.
Where are we going?
Oh, where would you like to go?
Anywhere, I don't care.
Well, in that case, we'll go everywhere. But first, you go upstairs and change, you hear? Or there won't be time enough to go to the corner drugstore for an ice cream soda.
Hello, Freddy.
Oh, hi there, Angela. Come on in. How's the best-looking nurse in Rossville, huh?
I don't know. I've never met her. Is Penny home?
Oh, she's out with Johnny Keith right now.
Oh, I might have known. Why didn't I have sense enough to phone from the center first?
Because maybe you wanted to come over here and keep me company, huh?
Well, the house is awfully quiet.
Sure is.
Are you alone?
I am. Well, at least I might as well be. Mr. Billings is asleep, and everybody else is out right now. I'm the babysitter tonight.
Well, if you don't mind, I will stay a while. I don't want to go right home. I'm just not in the mood to be alone tonight.
Well, Mrs. Billings cornered Pat this evening, or you wouldn't be.
I wonder.
Oh, I wouldn't kid you, Angela. Sure thing. I was here when he started to call you up, and then he remembered he promised to take his mother to the movies this evening.
Oh.
Oh, come on. Cheer up, will you? Cheer up, or I'm going to tell you all about the care and feeding of a cornfield, and I'll bore you to death.
Oh, good heavens. Anything but that.
That's more like it. Hey, look, I'll tell you something else, too. Something that'll really cheer you up. I've had orders not to spill it to Penny yet, so don't you spill it either, will you?
Well, you know, I've heard a rumor that something very important is being kept from Penny.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Well, Johnny told me about it this evening while Penny was upstairs dressing. You know why he stayed in Rossville? Chuck going back to South Africa, but forever?
No, I don't. Why?
Well, he's going to marry Penny. Only she doesn't know about it.
Oh, Freddy, you don't mean it.
Sure, that's what Johnny said. The guy means what he says, too.
Oh, how wonderful. Freddie, do you think he will? I mean, do you think she will? Is she in love with him? Would she...
Oh, I don't know, Angela, but I have a hunch she is, though. I'll tell you something else that's really funny.
Funny?
Well, not exactly, but in a way it is. Penny was telling me how to control my feelings this afternoon. It's going to be interesting to see if she can do anything with her own.
Well, now almost everyone but Penny knows that Johnny intends to marry her. Is Johnny right in not letting Penny know? Why is Johnny so sure of himself? And what about Freddy and Helen Burroughs? Is Freddy's child to be born into a broken family? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. Kroger Tender Ray Beef. It's delicious. Yes, ma'am, Kroger Tender Ray is the best-eating beef you ever tasted. Simply delicious. For Kroger Tender Ray is the one beef that's always fresh, always tender. No other beef so fresh can be so tender, yet it costs no more than ordinary beef. And, ladies, Kroger also offers you more meat for your money. Yes, through a special way of cutting beef, Kroger gives you more meat, less waste. You see, before the meat is weighed and priced, Kroger removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. So to get the most, to get the best, get Kroger Tender Ray beef. Ladies, remember this when you go to buy Kroger Tender Ray, the one beef that's always fresh, always tender, always delicious. Remember that it's available only at your Kroger store. And don't forget this. Kroger gives you more meat for your money. Because in Kroger cut beef, you get more meat, less waste. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store soon. Get the finest beef value in town. Kroger Tender Ray beef. Tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, The Green Hills of Earth. The men who pioneer the trade routes of the world, the sailors of the clipper ships, the whaling men, railroaders, black gangs on the tramp steamers, all have their own stories and song about dangers and struggles of their lives.
This is the story of Riesling, the blind singer of the spaceways. When I first met him, he was hustling drinks in the Twin Moons bar at Dry Waters, Mars. He'd won a guitar off a Chinese barkeep at Luna City by cheating at one thumb. And he made his whiskey by singing in the bar and passing the hat.
Listen to her, Hertzman. Don't you sing pretty? Like a 16-year-old gal.
Hey, Riesling, look over there at the bar. There's an Institute four-striper giving you the eye. Do you know him?
Manner of speaking. Cold-looking scoundrel, ain't he? Gives the idea he graduated Harriman Space Institute 3 men above St. Peter.
Who is he?
Captain Hicks off the Ghost Show.
Yeah, well, he sure gives you the once-over. Maybe he's got a job.
That don't make never no mind to me. I've been blacklisted. Hicks logged me for making up a song on watch. Right fight song, too.
Oh, the skipper is a father to his crew.
Yeah, well, hold on. Here comes old Brassard.
Oh, Riesling, I've been looking for you. You've kept your nose clean, and we're going to give you another chance to get back to deep space.
Been a little changing down there from the Goshawk, ain't you, Skipper?
How'd you know that?
You got that new atomic pile drive.
If there's been a leak at the shops,
take it easy, Skip. You'll have that gold braid just a-crawling right up your arm.
Quit stalling, Riesling. Take it or leave it. It's a loop trip to Jupiter with the standard release.
I reckon. Double pay when you get back, if you get back. Last 3 of them atomic tea kettles blew somewhere in the asteroids.
If you're scared.
Scared? Well, that Goshawk is one stinking old tub. Her engine's got more bugs than a beagle dog in spring. And that new drive's about as safe as a pretty gal in the Ozarks. But I reckon she'll do for one more trip.
Welcome home, Riesling.
Hi, Jimmy Leg. Meet my friend Hertzman. He can't hold his liquor no more than a sieve, poor boy.
Riesling, you sober enough to sign the book?
Drunk or sober, I make my mark. Stand aside.
3 X's?
Took me a middle name.
Ha, ha, ha. You two lay below. And Hertzman,
yeah?
Get him sobered up before the skipper makes rounds. Cargo stowed, Captain. Fuel lines away and ready.
Good, Casey. Well, what's that?
What it? Oh, that's a guitar, I guess.
If it's that shoeless hillbilly, I'm going to tell him.
Hi, Skipper.
Riesling, what the devil are you doing up here?
That number 2 jet ain't fit. Cadmium dampers are warped. Crooked like a turtle's back.
Well, why tell me? Tell the chief engineer.
I did. He says they'll hold.
Well?
He's wrong.
Oh, he's wrong, eh? He's got a Harriman Institute degree in electronics and power. And some drunk space rat says he's wrong.
Skipper, I was damping jets when that shirt-tailed tad wore pins for buttons.
I got no time for your reasoning. Scratch your name off the book.
No, don't get excited.
Well, are you shipping or not?
I reckon.
Then get below. That's all. Casey, sound takeoff.
Aye, sir. Come on, boy.
On a Hawk-class clunker in those days, damping was done by hand with a multiplying vernier and a danger peeper. Jetman slept with one ear tuned to that, and as long as the peeper ticked off slow and steady, we knew the ship was safe. For a while. Riesling, you better stow that guitar. If Jimmy Legs catches you, he'll blow a gasket.
Don't worry, I could damp this tea kettle in my sleep.
Yeah, how's number 2?
All right, so far. Say, did you ever hear that song about Hicks? The one that got me blacklisted?
Oh, the skipper is the father of his crew. A gentle guide and light to me and you. But on Mars he likes his women if they walk or if they're swimming. Or if they got 6 arms instead of 2.
Second verse is better.
Yeah. The skipper likes his liquor by the quart. Yeah, he'd go from Mars to Venus for a snort. He'll drink rocket fuel and...
Well, hi, Skipper. Didn't see you come in.
You were too busy, eh? Who's watching the gauge?
I got an eye on it. Don't you fret none.
Riesling, I'm going to fix it so you couldn't get a space berth on a rocket-powered pogo stick. You're loud. Report to Casey under arrest.
I don't rightly think I will, Skipper.
You what?
You kind of forget, Skipper. According to Space Code, you can't remove a jetman till the end of the watch, right?
You tell me Riesling, your shift is over at 2300. And I'll see you ride the rest of the way in slop locker.
Maybe. In the meantime, you clear out of my power room. I gotta make me up a third verse for my song.
Yeah, I got it. Power room.
Damp number 2 a point.
Number 2, I...
Hold on, Hertzman. Jimmy Legs, is that force-drive boil up there?
Give me that, Casey. Riesling, I've taken about enough from you.
And I got a little news for you, Skipper. Number 2 jet is bulging like a fat lady in a satin skirt.
Listen, you clown. Damp number 2 a point.
Sure. Look out, Hertzman. I'll take it. You watch the gauge. Now.
He's riding easy here.
It's bucking a little.
Riesling,
hit the emergency! All right. She won't get it with that warp. There go the lights. Duck her! Duck! Riesling! Stay down behind the baffle. I gotta take a look. It's radioactive. Look out! I've gotta fish the hot stuff out of the tube. What's going on down there? Shut up, Jimmy Legs. I'm busy. She's tight now.
What happened?
Number 2 blew, you lunk-headed space rat.
You all right?
A little sunburn. Lights are gone. What's the matter with the emergency circuits?
Riesling,
Jimmy Legs, get some lights down here. It's dark. Get the emergency light on.
But they're on, Riesling. They went on right after the blast. The lights are on.
What are you talking about? Dark. Jimmy Legs! Jimmy Legs, turn on the lights. Turn on the lights.
That blue, radioactive glow from the jets was the last thing Riesling ever saw. His optic nerve was burned out in an instant. He was in sick bay on the rest of the trip, and on the swing back, we set Riesling down at Drywater. I ran into Riesling about 2 months later, playing his guitar on a jetty that ran out into the canal. He had a dirty rag tied over his eyes with a jetman's knot, and his hat was on the wharf beside him. When he finished, we walked out along the canal.
Yeah, I'm doing right fine. Working saloons mostly. I've been thinking some funny songs, Hertzman. The words come out different than they used to. Come on along the canal with me.
Sure. Here, take my arm.
I know the way. That's another funny thing, Hertzman. I figure I know it better than other folks. Look back there, towards the city. What do you see?
New factory buildings? You could smell them from here.
I still remember them old Martian towers, old before Bible times on Earth. Thin and graceful like the fairy palaces my old grandma used to tell about down home in the hills.
Yeah, they torn them down now, or else blocked them up with cinder blocks.
Hertzman, when I stand out here in the canal, I can see it the way it used to be. The water ice blue with the stars shining up out of it. Way off there, the city with the towers sweeping up like a bird flying off a tree. I can see it.
Now it's the dirtiest stinkhole in the system.
Not to me. Listen, Hertzman.
Bonfire the race that raised the towers, Forgotten are their lores. Long gone the gods who shed the tears that lap these crystal shores. Slow beats the time-worn heart of Mars beneath this icy sky. The thin air whispers voicelessly that all who live must die.
I can't figure it myself. I never put words together like that before. I reckon it's just I got time now to study the words and shine them up in my head till they sing true.
Why don't you go home, Riesling?
Home?
Earth.
I've been thinking about that, Hertzman. When I was a young'un down in the Ozarks, I used to climb a big old oak tree my daddy had in the dooryard. You could see the hills for miles, green and cool. I've been thinking about that.
Well, why don't you go back then?
Someday, Hertzman, but I couldn't face those hills now. I couldn't stand to see black when I knew they was lying all around me, cool and green in the sun. I couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to town, Hertzman. I made $3.50 marching today, and I'm all set to drink it down before dawn. Come on.
I lost track of Riesling after that. I shipped out in a slow freight to the convict class for Luna, and he hitched a hike to Venusberg in an ore ship in the Triplanet run. So he beat around the system, Venusberg to Layport to Drywater to New Shanghai and back. Any spaceport was his home, and no skipper'd refused to lift the extra mass of Riesling and his guitar. He made up his song sitting out watches down in the power rooms with old shipmates, while the monotonous beat of the jets shook the hull place.
Hear the jets, hear the jets, hear them snarl at your back when you're stretched on the rack. Hear the jets, feel the pain in your ship, feel the strain in your grip. Hear the jets, feel the rise, feel her drive, straining steel come alive on her jets, on her jets.
Little by little, his songs began to travel along with spaceways ahead of him. Raw spaceman songs. A different kind of song. Strange, sad songs, like the ones you find printed in the Centennial editions. Well, there's one called Dark Star Passing and Death Song of a Weed Coat. And then finally, The Green Hills of Earth. It grew for 20 years, that song. They say it started way back when Riesling was down in the labor camps in Venus singing for the indentured men. When when he hit Venus, he'd always head out to the backwoods to sing for them.
First, if someone will kindly pass a bottle.
Oh, it ain't much, Riesling. Here.
It'll do. Oh, what is that stuff?
Tequila. You can't make him good here on Venus.
What do you use?
Karak bush. It is different.
How'd you come to sign on?
When a man comes out the village from the city, he says there's work. You sign the paper and you work. Work? It's work, all right. 10 stinking hours in the jungle with machete.
How long you signed for?
And then I only speak Spanish. I don't know. The paper says 10 years. 10 years.
How long you got to go?
What's the use? We ain't getting home. You know how many men die out there in the swamp today? 10 men. 10. What's the use? My mother, she's dead. My father don't care.
Girl?
Oh, she says she waits. I don't know. You sing some more, Riesling. We drink and you sing, huh?
Maybe a new song, son.
We rot in the molds of Venus. We retch out a tainted breath.
See?
Foul all our flooded jungles, crawling with unclean death. We've tried each spinning space mote and reckoned its true worth. Take us back to the homes of men and the cool green hills of earth. Take us back.
What's the matter? Finish the song, Riesling. I can't yet. It just don't come. I'll finish it when I go home. That's it. When I go home to the hills. Now pass that bottle. That dawn whistle don't blow for 4 hours.
That's where the Green Hills started. And I was there when it was finished. It was 20 years after that. And there wasn't a man flying or on the beach that hadn't heard of Riesling and his songs. He was getting old now for a spaceman. He was a familiar figure through the system. Tall, gaunt, with that dirty bandage tied across his blind eyes. I was a chief jetman then on the old Falcon. We were cradled at Venus, Ellis Isle, scheduled for a direct jump to Great Lakes, Illinois, on Earth. I was checking in Dunwich when Riesling felt his way up the gangway and came through the lock. Hey, Riesling!
Who's that?
Mike Hertzman.
Hertzman?
What are you doing in this old hog boat?
Well, I figured I'd ride it back to Earth.
Earth? You going home, Riesling? I thought you were never going to make that run. What changed your mind?
Oh, I've been hankering to set foot in the Ozarks again.
Yeah, how about those hills?
Yeah, I've been singing about them so long now, Hertzman. I got to finish the song. I got to set foot in the dooryard and hear the wind through that oak tree. It's about the last thing I'll be doing. I got to get home before...
Look, Riesling, there's a new company policy in effect now. No more deadhead rides. A new code book's in force.
Oh, that don't bother me none. I'm riding her back to Earth. I'm going to finish my song, and it's got to be there.
Yeah, but the skipper's one of them youngsters fresh out of Harriman Institute cadet training. He'll throw the book at you.
At me? I've been around space as long as Haley's Common, Bruce's Ridge. I'm going back to Earth. Ooh, green hills of Earth. I'm going home.
Oh, secured, Hertzman?
Yes, sir.
What are you doing here?
This is Riesling, Captain.
Riesling, huh?
I'm dragging it back to Earth, Captain.
Not in this ship. Shake a leg and get out of here.
Oh, no, Captain, you wouldn't begrudge an old man a trip home.
I can't do it. Space Precautionary Code Clause 6. Now, come on, clear out.
Well, now, look, Skipper, you can slide me by onto the distressed spaceman's coals in that code book.
Distressed spaceman, my eye. You've been bumming around the system for 30 years.
Oh, Skipper, you're making me do something I never done to no one before. I'm an old man. An old blind man. I want to go home. I never crawled in front of a force drop in my life, but you got to let me drag home. The law says a man's got a trip coming to him, and you can stretch for a poor old blind man. No, can't you? You got to, Skipper.
All right, you old space rat, but keep out of the way. I run an efficient ship, and I don't want any trouble.
Oh, no, sir, no trouble. I'll just lay down to the power room. I'd kind of like to be near the jets when they blast off for Earth.
Sit down, Riesling. Take a load up.
Hey, thanks, Mac.
Power room, fire 3.
Aye, sir. Have you seen these new automatic tampers, Riesling? Don't have to do nothing, just sit and watch.
Yeah, where's the peeper?
Turned off. It's all automatic.
Youngsters have it solved. When I was twisting her tail, you had to stay awake. You got the old hand damping plates on?
All but the links. I unshipped them. They cover up the dials.
You might need them.
Oh, the automatics handle everything. Well, you're finally going home, Riesling, huh? Don't seem the same out past the moon.
Yeah, I've been thinking for this a long time, Mac. It's going to be good to get home. You reckon?
The Arctic sky is calling spacemen back to their trade.
Mac, I got the emergency. The hand dampers. Here's the links. Back up. They ought to be on the wall somewhere here. There, I got them.
Emergency squad coming in.
Stay out. The place is hot. Radiation blast.
Stay behind the baffle.
I got the links shipped. I can hand damper now.
What's going on in there?
I'm spilling jet freeze.
Is this McDougal?
McDougal's dead. This is Riesling on water.
Riesling? Get out of there. You'll kill yourself.
Don't worry, Skipper. I know this power room like the inside of my shirt. Somebody's got the damper.
Riesling, I'm sending in a crew.
No use. The whole room will be hot for an hour, and the other jets won't hold. Oh, Skipper, throw on a recording tape.
What?
Throw on a recording tape. I got a song to finish, and I got to make it right now. Yeah, I can hear it.
Riesling, the radiation will burn you down.
She's clear now, Skipper. She'll burn out clean.
Riesling, are you all right?
I reckon. Pretty sharp sunburn. You pick me out of here with tongs and bury me in a lead shield coffin. Radiation's getting bright. I can almost see. Bright, rosy like the sun. Like the sun over the hills down home.
We pray for one last landing on the globe that gave us birth. Let us rest our eyes on the fleecy skies of the cool green hills of earth.
That's the way he died. Riesling, the blind singer of the spaceways, singing of the home he never reached, the cool green hills of Earth.
You have just heard X-1, transcribed by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight's story, The Green Hills of Earth, written by Robert Heinlein and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Ken Williams as Riesling, Nelson Olmsted as Hertzman, Matt Crowley as Hicks, Wendell Holmes as Casey, Bill Griffiths as Rodriguez, Bill Lipton as the Skipper, and William Zuckert as McDougal. Original music for Riesling songs was written and sung by Tom Glazer. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Fred Way and is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week, the strange story of Dr. Grimshaw's Sanitorium and of a patient there who suddenly found himself involved in a game of cat and mouse. But the man had actually been reduced to the size of a mouse, while the cat remained full size. What happened then? You'll learn next week.
Convicts tell their true stories on The Loser, tonight over most NBC radio stations.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, Adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, Dr. Grimshaw's Sanitorium. What you will hear in the next half hour represents either a magnificent hoax or the true explanation of the famous Grimshaw Sanitorium scandal which made the headlines back in 1947. The manuscript upon which this account is based was removed by the New York State Police from a fountain pen cover found in the doorway to Dr. Grimshaw's study. We offer this manuscript as evidence only. Whether it is authentic or not, you must judge for yourselves.
My name is John Dougherty. I'm a graduate of Hamilton College, class of 34, a member of Theta Alpha. I'm one of those fools who wanted some excitement in life, so instead of going into my father's shoe business, I became a private detective. These are facts. You can check them if you like. The rest of what I write here is so fantastic that I don't expect it to be believed. If anyone should find this manuscript and read it, all I ask is that you notify Miss Millicent Armbruster of 299 Wallace Avenue, Buffalo, that Johnny Dougherty is dead. On the evening of July 1st, Miss Armbruster and I were driving to a wedding. Not our own, although I wish it had been. It was Sunday, and in order to avoid traffic, I took the Old Mill Road, a single-lane dirt affair that runs past the Gowanda Cemetery.
Johnny, aren't you going too fast?
Not for this road. There isn't a thing around except some tombstones and...
Johnny, the gate to the cemetery.
What about it?
That hearse, look out! Look out!
We skidded for about 20 feet and slammed into the back of the hearse. The two rear doors buckled and snapped open. It was a freak. A huge oak coffin with brass handles tipped up and began slowly to slide back toward us.
Oh, how horrible.
You stay right here, baby. You okay, Mac?
You don't pay much attention to speed limits, do you, Jack?
Now, look, let's not get hung up on who was right and who was wrong. I was going too fast, and you were traveling without lights after dark.
Let's see your driver's license.
Right here.
Oh. Private eye, eh?
Now, if you don't mind, who does this joy wagon belong to?
Gowanda Funeral Service. It's being rented to Grimshaw.
Who?
Grimshaw from the private sanitarium.
Mind if I ask what you were doing after dark coming out of a cemetery with a wooden kimono?
We're moving one of Grimshaw's patients to a new grave.
They always travel like this?
Look, Hawkshaw, how about skipping the third degree and giving me a hand getting this box back in the wagon?
A pleasure. Better screw on that cover again. It's going to slide off.
Let's get it in the hearse first.
Okay, Junior. You get on that end.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, lift.
Just slide it.
Oh, brother, who's in there, King Kong?
Look out for the cover.
I told you that would happen. What's the guy's name, Junior?
Oh, why don't you ask him, Sherlock Holmes?
A real wise guy, huh? I've got half a mind to report this accident.
Yeah, well, go ahead. See where it gets you. Now, if you'll pardon me, I'll deliver the body.
Everything all right, Johnny?
I thought so until a few seconds ago. Listen, Millie, can you sit here in the car for another 5 minutes?
Where are you going?
For a stroll through the cemetery.
Oh, Johnny, stop making jokes.
When we lifted that coffin back on the meat wagon, I got a good look inside it.
Ew.
Yeah, exactly how I felt. I figured we'd knock the stuffing out of the corpse, only I didn't expect the stuffing to be sand.
What?
Yes. That wasn't a body. That was a dummy stuffed with sand. A dummy with a wax face.
Johnny!
Which brings up an interesting question. Who's supposed to be in that box, and, just where is the dead man spending his time? Sometimes in my business, when things drop off, you have to go out and, dig up new clients. My next case was a gentleman named Harlan Ward Sr., a wealthy automobile manufacturer. I'd gotten his name off his son's tombstone.
Are you trying to tell me, Dougherty, that my son Harlan was never buried at Gowanda Cemetery?
Exactly, Mr. Wood.
But why?
Maybe if you'll tell me the circumstances surrounding your son's death, I can help answer that.
My son was a rather impetuous young man. Tall, good-looking. After his graduation from Princeton, he began drinking quite heavily. After he got into a couple of scrapes, we sent him to Dr. Grimshaw's Sanitorium in the hopes that he could be cured. While my wife and I were in Europe, we received word that he died, buried at Guana in our absence. Last week, my wife and I decided to have his body removed to the family vault here at Short Hills.
How'd your son die?
Suicide.
You never saw the body?
No. We couldn't get back from Europe in time. Now you tell me that his coffin contains a dummy. How do I know this whole thing isn't a plan to fleece me?
You don't. But you're a rich man, Mr. Ward, and you're perfectly willing to take a chance that I'm on the level and that your son may still be alive.
You sound very sure of yourself, Mr. Dorsey.
My fee is a $2,000 retainer plus expenses.
What sort of expenses?
However much it costs to take the cure at Dr. Grimshaw's Sanitorium. Dr. Grimshaw's Sanitorium was just outside Gowanda. Most of the cases were nervous breakdowns and alcoholics. I committed myself as a dipso, and just to make it convincing, I stopped at 5 or 6 bars on the way over. I was interviewed by Grimshaw himself, a small man with a fringe of white hair.
You understand, Mr. Doherty.
That's not my real name, of course, social reasons.
We understand. Our paid clientele is very select, and our rates are very high.
You will be paid in cash and in advance, Dr. Grimshaw. How long does a cure usually take?
That, of course, depends on the degree of alcoholism. This is my assistant, Dr. Boyner.
How do you do?
How do you do? We are accepting Mr. Doherty as a patient. Better place him in the ward with Mr. K and Mr. Keiki. Mr. K is a long-term patient, Mr. Doherty, a highly intelligent man, formerly a professor of plant pathology. Mr. Keiki suffers mild delusions. I think you'll find him rather amusing.
After about 3 days, my roommates Arthur Kay and Crakey got used to me. And we even began to play three-handed bridge. Kay was a chronic dope addict, an intelligent, sensitive man. Crakey was nothing but a clown. He kept a big black cat named the Professor, which he talked to as if it were human.
And so I said to her, my dear Countess, if you don't like the company of my cat, then you don't like me. She looked at me as if I were insane. But, of course, the joke was on her because I was. Professor? The professor is very sociable. Excellent company.
Except when he kills birds and deposits them in your bed. He's nothing but a feline murderer as far as I'm concerned.
See? You have insulted him, Mr. K.
Come here, Professor. Let's make friends. How about giving me your paw?
Oh! Scratch me, you black devil.
You insulted him. You hurt his feelings.
Well, just keep him away from me.
It will be a pleasure. I would advise you not to insult him again. Good afternoon and evening.
Is he always as nuts as that?
Ever since I've been here.
What's his problem?
Manic depressive. And a little paranoid, too.
How long have you been here, Arthur?
At Grimshaw's 2 years. I left for a while, but I couldn't stay away from the junk, so I committed myself again.
Did you, happen to know a patient here named Helen Ward?
Why do you ask that? Did you know him?
I met him socially a few times. I understand he died here.
So the newspapers said. I wouldn't know.
Suicide, wasn't it?
Was it?
You're being pretty careful, aren't you?
Mr. Doherty, what would you say if I were to tell you that I don't believe Helen Ward is dead?
What makes you so certain?
He used to share this room with us. He slept in the same bed you now use.
I see.
He was an alcoholic. Doing quite well, too, from what I could observe. We all expected him to go home soon. Then one evening he had a violent fight with Crakey. Crakey accused him of snooping or something. Later that night, Grimshaw and Boyner took him out.
Where?
Where they take all the special treatment cases to the charity clinic. It's that small building on the other side of the stone wall. A few days later, we read about his death. Suicide, they said.
Just what makes you think he's still alive, Arthur?
This? About a month ago, I was in the garden next to the wall that separates us from the charity clinic. Suddenly, I thought I heard a sound, like a child whimpering. It stopped. And a moment later, this note came over the wall, wrapped around a stone.
What's it say?
Help me, for God's sake, Helen Ward.
Arthur, how would you like to have some fun?
Like what?
Like sneaking out tonight and going over the wall to the charity ward? What do you say? It would break the monotony a little.
I suppose there's no real harm in it.
Of course not. I'd go alone, but I'll need help scaling the wall. Will you do it?
All right. I'll go with you.
All clear. Give me your hand and I'll lift you. Be careful when you drop. Ready? Go ahead.
There's a charity building over there, the one with the lights in the basement window.
Come on. Let's crawl over. Maybe we can see something. Shh. Listen. Can you make out what he's saying?
No, I can barely hear. Good Lord.
What was that?
Probably some patient having the DT.
Let's have a look. Easy, it wouldn't do to get caught now.
See anything?
Some sort of laboratory. I can see Grimshaw and Voyage and something else. But there's a child with its back toward me.
Now take it quietly. It will be easier.
Please, don't.
It will all be over soon. You won't remember anything.
No, I don't want to go.
Why not give it to him?
No.
Shut him up, boy, now.
Good Lord. What was it? What did they do to that child? Mother, that wasn't a child. It was a midget. The smallest midget I've ever seen. What were they doing? Trying to give it some sort of injection. When it resisted, Buena knocked it out. What do you suppose they were doing to it? I don't know, Arthur. All I know is that when it fell, it had the face of Helen Ward. All the way back to our room, my brain was working like some frantic pinball machine. Only the score somehow wouldn't add up. The pieces were there, all right. A crazy old doctor, a brutal assistant, a private sanitarium, and a midget with a dead man's face. I thought that when I got back to our room, I'd have some time to think about it. I'd forgotten about our friend, the happiness boy, Count Crakey.
So, I caught you.
Fine, you've caught us. Now how about crawling back into the woodwork like a good little count?
Where were you?
Mink hunting. Arthur and I like to go mink hunting at night.
You make fun of Count Crakey? I shall report you to Dr. Voyner.
You better not if you know it's good for you.
So, you threaten me? Me, Count Crakey? I shall scream for help. Help! Help!
Did you hurt him? Just knocked him out.
What do we do now?
Put him to bed. Hope that when he wakes up in the morning, he's forgotten the whole thing.
And if he hasn't?
He's too crazy for them to take seriously anyway. Come on, let's get him back into bed. I went to sleep in my own room. And the next thing I felt was the sharp jab of the hypodermic needle in my left arm.
Hold it. It will be useless to struggle, Mr. Doherty. In a moment, your motor nerves will be completely paralyzed.
What's this about, Grimshaw?
I might ask the same of you. My good friend Count Crakey informs me you and Mr. Kay decided to do some snooping earlier tonight. He followed you and saw you climb the wall.
Crakey's insane.
Mr. Doherty, that is a matter of opinion.
Crakey, what is this?
Perhaps my assistant, Dr. Grimshaw, would be good enough to explain.
Assistant?
Yes. You see, I am the actual head of the Grimshaw Sanitorium.
Count Crakey feigns many delusions, Mr. Doherty. But in this case, he is telling the truth. Count Crakey is actually Professor Ernst Hassler. Professor Hassler and I worked together in the Berlin Neurological Institute before and during the last war.
Unfortunately, my political affiliations with the Third Reich were under investigation by the War Crimes Commission. However, Dr. Grimshaw managed to smuggle me into this country, where I masqueraded as a mental patient, in order that we might continue certain experiments which were interrupted by the American Army.
I can imagine the sort of experiments you conducted.
You and your friend Mr. Kay will discover their exact nature very shortly, Mr. Doherty. It is a magnificent opportunity to serve science.
next thing I knew, I was coming to in a different room and hearing the voices of Voyna, Grimshaw, and Craigie, as if from a great distance.
Pituitrin.
Pituitrin.
4 cc's.
4 cc.
How are the measurements?
Reducing rapidly.
We'll operate at once. Have Voyna start the anesthesia.
Very well, Doctor. Come back.
When I came to again, I had a blinding headache. I began to wonder if Craigie and Grimshaw weren't doing something to drive me insane, because I lost all sense of perspective. The room seemed to grow in size. I don't know how much time passed, but one day Craigie came into the room with a bundle in his arms about the size of a newborn baby. The bundle was my friend, Arthur Kay. And worse yet, I was exactly the same size that he was.
Let me out of here. Let me out.
Allow me to congratulate you, gentlemen. How are you feeling?
You dirty monster.
I'm disappointed, gentlemen. Do you not feel privileged to be a part of an experiment that will place me at the very top rank of the world's endocrinologists?
What are you doing to us, you madman?
It has long been established, gentlemen, that dwarfism and giantism result from injury to or malfunction of the pituitary and thyroid glands. The interlock between these glands was thought to be a hormone. I have discovered that this was incorrect. It was an enzyme. An enzyme I isolated some years ago. I was well on the way to synthesis in Germany when the surrender interrupted me. The interruption also limited the number and type of subjects on whom I could experiment. I was forced to find others.
Such as Harlan Ward?
Mr. Ward was only a control experiment.
I suppose you plan the same for us.
No, gentlemen. For you, I have reserved a special privilege. You, gentlemen, will be the first to test the full effects of the enzyme. In short, I intend that you, Mr. Kay, and you, Mr. Doherty, when the experiment is completed, will emerge as perfectly healthy, normal individuals. Except, of course, that you will be only 5 inches tall.
The days and nights that followed were a living nightmare. A nightmare from which Arthur and I awoke for brief periods to find ourselves in a strange new world. A huge, frightening world where everything seemed enlarged 100 times. When we finally emerged, we found ourselves imprisoned in a tiny mouse cage. Judging by the relative size of things, we could not have been more than 5 inches tall. Now we realized the experiment was at an end. That from now on, it was either escape or be destroyed.
How's it coming, Arthur? Another moment. I think I'll have this lock. Worst loose. And if we escape, then what? We'll worry about that after we get out of this mouse cage. Suppose we don't make it. At least you've written the story on that scrap of paper. Someone may find it and read it. Nobody will believe it. Then why did you bother to write it? I don't know. I suppose I want the world to know what happened to me. Help me push the door open. Now what? The first job is getting down to the floor. I think we can make it by sliding down the telephone cord. Are you game? Go ahead. I'm right behind you. Easy now. Look out. That's it. Now, if we can figure out a way to get out of the room, well, that should be... Uh-oh. Listen. Somebody's coming. It must be Craigie. We've got to hide. Here. Right in the fireplace. He'll kill us if he finds us.
Well, my friends, time for feeding. I trust that you... So, you have managed to break out. It won't do, you know. There is no way you could have gotten out of the room with the door and window locked. I know you are in here. I would advise you to save yourselves trouble and give up. Very well, my tiny friends. If you prefer to play the game of cat and mouse, then I shall be happy to furnish the cat. There is no way you can get out.
What now? He's gone for the cat. If that monster ever gets in here, we're goners. There must be... Wait a minute. What? You see that thin strand of wire running along the molding? What about it? It's the automatic fire alarm. When the alarm is tripped by a fire or short circuit, all the locks are spun so that the patients can escape from their rooms. If I can short that wire before Craigie lets the cat into the building, let's go. There's a tiny sliver of steel from the cage on the floor. I'll work with that. You keep an ear to the door. Go ahead. This insulation is tough as rawhide. Christ, this stuff. Hurry up, Arthur, for God's sake. There it is. Stand away. I'm going to short it. Ready? Okay. We made it. There goes the door. Let's make a run for it down the hall. If we can get to the garden, we've got a chance. I smell smoke. The short may have actually started the fire. Come on. Wait a minute. I have to go back. The manuscript. Don't be a fool. There's no time. Come on. You go ahead. I'll catch up. Hurry up. I'll wait in the hall. Only a second. I've got it. Come on. There's nothing to stop us now. Arthur? Where are you? Honey? Arthur? Arthur? Arthur, what's happened to you?
This is the record found in a fountain pen cover in the burned-out hallway of Dr. Grimshaw's Sanitorium. There's nothing to add, except that the fire which destroyed the sanitarium and killed so many of its occupants, including Dr. Grimshaw and Dr. Voyna, was definitely of incendiary nature. It is believed by the fire chief that some small creature, possibly a mouse, chewed the insulation off the wire and short-circuited the system. The two patients, John Doherty and Arthur Kay, vanished completely after the fire, and their remains were never found. Whether the manuscript which you have just heard is authentic, or whether it was the work of one of the more demented inmates of the sanitarium, we leave to your judgment. You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Fred Way and is an NBC Radio Network production. X-1.
One by one, the members of the Gregory party have seen various portions of the huge Euclidean city below the sea. In one of the vast natural caves, which the Euclideans have improved and strengthened, Mrs. Gregory and Joan are waiting anxiously for Captain Bradford and Jerry Hall. We last saw the captain and Jerry making a vain attempt to rescue G-47 from the swirling waters rushing in upon them, as a series of explosions rocked the walls of the cavern. A steel door has slammed shut, cutting off their view of the flooded passageway, and Mrs. Gregory and Joan stand helplessly waiting for someone to appear. The explosions are still being heard in the distance.
I think we should try to get in there, Joan.
No, Mother, that is foolish.
But Tex is in that passageway and Jerry.
You cannot help by getting hysterical. G-47 and the captain will do everything possible to save themselves, and Jerry as well.
But if we opened that door, we might get them out.
And if we opened that door, the waters of the ocean would rush in and flood this entire city. Every life in Euclidia would be lost.
And we are just going to stand here and do nothing?
That is not wise either. Let us go to a higher level in one of the other passageways.
Very well. But it's so useless, just a waste of time.
We do not know that. Come, let us walk as rapidly as possible.
This is one time when the all-wise Euclideans got a little taste of their own medicine. Their cleverly designed volcanic eruption is just as apt to destroy their city as it is to drive away any boats on the surface of the water.
I know the Euclidean thoroughness of planning much better than you, Mother. It is only a remote possibility that misfortune has befallen G-47.
Even if he could manage to escape, what of Jerry and the captain?
The captain's life is very valuable to G-47 until his formula is secured for the Euclideans. If G-47 is safe, Jerry and the captain are also safe.
I hope you're right, Joan, dear. But I can't feel very cheerful about it.
I think we will soon have information of a more definite nature. Is this not Cheops approaching us?
It looks like him, and he's in a hurry.
He does appear to be excited, and that is not like one of the scientists.
If they've had bad luck with their artificial volcanic eruption, you may see a number of these Euclideans jarred out of their irritating smugness.
It is Cheops, the master builder, who approaches us.
Ah, there you are. Come, Cleosta. Come, Mrs. Gregory. You will follow me.
Follow you where?
Do you not know enough of Euclidean procedure to refrain from questioning the actions of Cheops?
Come, Mother. We will follow Cheops. He may lead us to something of interest, and surely anything is preferable to our present state of uneasiness.
You have retained something of our teachings, Cleosta.
Oh, very well. I won't forget your greatness or my extreme humility in your presence. But I would like to know if you have any information as to whether the captain and Jerry Hall escaped that flooded chamber.
I have no information, and am not interested in securing any. Their absence fails to annoy me as greatly as their presence would.
G47 is with them.
What?
G47 is in that flooded chamber with the captain and Jerry.
Then come. We must hasten to the control room. Come with me, that you may show me the point at which they were last seen.
You're excited enough now.
Naturally. G47 must be saved.
Well, I don't agree with you as to that. But as you'll probably be forced to save Tex and Jerry at the same time, we'll help you.
I think we are now at the same level as the corridor they were imprisoned in.
That is well. We will enter this control room. From here we may command a view of the surface through our prism reflectors. Enter.
What a remarkable room. It looks almost like a small moving picture theater.
That is rather a good description of it. On the steel wall before you, you will see moving objects, which are indeed similar to your motion pictures. But these articulated views are in the fourth dimension and are direct reproductions of the actions now taking place on the surface of the water. I will establish contact at once. Observe that wall.
Mother, look.
Yes, Joan, I'm watching.
There are a number of shadows appearing on that wall.
They're taking shape. Joan, those shadows are ships, big ships.
You are observing the movements of the various vessels rapidly leaving this position. Apparently, they have no liking for active volcanoes as an anchorage.
Those are the ships which came to rescue us?
Yes, Joan, dear. Tex didn't tell you and Jerry all his plans, as he didn't want to raise your hopes and possibly have them dashed. But the ships you see sailing away, obviously under forced draft, are light cruisers and destroyers from several of the largest nations in the world.
There you have it, Mrs. Gregory. 7 heavily armed vessels from 7 powerful nations in your puny world have followed your directions to the location of Euclidia. They found no island at that position, but they did find an active volcano. So these brave ships are sailing away, quite satisfied that if there ever was an island here, it has been destroyed by the eruption. Your friends have made their last attempt to rescue you, and Euclidia now numbers your party among its permanent residents.
Oh, Joan, dear.
I'm so sorry, Mother.
All of those countries helping so splendidly to search out and destroy this mad place to bring peace and safety to the world, only to have their plans overthrown by an artificial volcanic eruption.
Mother, look! Watch that wall.
There are new shadows appearing on it.
You will observe those shadows carefully. The view you now have is being transmitted through a steel wall beyond this room. You are viewing the pressure channel from which you escaped, and within which G47 and your friends are now confined.
Joan, Tex, Jerry, that place is full of water. Their bodies are pressed against the ceiling.
Mother, you must not allow yourself to act this way.
Tex and Jerry.
If you will retain your mental balance for a moment, Mrs. Gregory, and give all your attention to the projection before you, you will note that there is at least 2 inches of space between the faces of these men and the ceiling of that corridor.
Yes, Mother. Do you not observe that?
Yes, I see that now. And I suppose a good swimmer might have floated on his back and continued to breathe easily in that still water.
Precisely.
But the pressure, the air pressure would be unbearable.
It would indeed, if it were not for the fact that I, Cheops, the master builder, designed that room, and others which serve the same purpose. The ceiling is of porous steel, permitting air to escape at a lower pressure than is harmful to the human body.
Then they're all right?
Of course they are, Mother. If Cheops isn't worried about G47, you may be sure Jerry and the captain are quite safe.
Precisely. Now, if you will continue to watch those shadow vision images, you will observe the water level receding as I advance this control.
How soon will they be freed?
Watch and ask no questions.
Mother, the water is receding.
Yes, it is. Rapidly, too. And I can see all 3 of the men moving in the water.
They're all perfectly safe now.
That water is going down rapidly. Now Jerry is turning over to swim.
Note the look of relief that comes over his face.
Oh, I don't blame him. Now Tex and G47 are both turning over. Their feet will soon touch the floor. Oh, Joan, I'm so glad.
It will be a matter of less than 120 seconds until your friends will be free to enter this room.
2 minutes. That's a wonderful performance, Cheops.
The secrets of the builders of the Great Pyramids have come down through the ages to me. The building of a simple room such as that one is child's play to me.
That's something I want you to explain to me when you have time, Cheops. Did your namesake actually build pyramids?
Mrs. Gregory, your attempt at humor is in very poor taste, as my displeasure would mean your life.
Please, Mother, do not anger him.
I didn't mean to. And my question was perfectly sincere. Our educational system has conflicting testimony rather generously scattered through it. One of the most recently discussed theories is that Khufu, or Cheops, did not build the Great Pyramid. In fact, modern science is striving to prove this.
You are not deliberately attempting to antagonize me? You are sincere?
Perfectly sincere. In my library at home, I have no less than 6 volumes, all accepted as authority by recognized historians. And no 2 of the 6 agree, even reasonably, as to the time of the building of the Great Pyramid, the part Cheops played in this building, or even the fact that this was the first pyramid.
So, those conditions of confusion and ignorance actually exist in your world. I have been told as much about the Western world, but it seemed incredible. We of the East are definite in our ancient history, even in the everyday world. You have aroused my interest. At some future time, I will be glad to demonstrate my proofs as to the actual building of the Great Pyramid. For the present, I may tell you briefly that Cheops was the builder of the Great Pyramid, which was also the first pyramid. He started work in the year 3949 BC, when but 20 years of age, and completed it in 20 years. The Sagara, commonly called the Step Pyramid, was not started until 3000 BC, 8 years after the death of Cheops, and 29 years after the completion of the Great Pyramid of Cheops.
Is that satisfactory to you, Mother?
More than that, it's amazing. And I'm beginning to wonder just how many things we accept in our world that may be poorly stated to us.
Hello, everybody.
Boy, Jerry.
Oh, Mother, is it Jerry?
Sure is. And boy, have we had some experience.
Young man, do you realize you have rushed unbidden into one of the most carefully guarded rooms in Euclidia?
Oh, nobody was guarding it when I came in. Hey, you been watching moving pictures here?
Well, something like that. Where is Tex?
You will leave immediately. All of you. Get out. Get out.
Mother, come. Cheops is angry.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry I busted in here like that. But if you only knew what happened to
We
us.
know, Jerry, but let us leave at once and discuss it out in the corridor.
Yes, meddling fools. Leave at once.
Well, I guess we can talk out here all right. I didn't mean to make the old guy mad.
Forget it, Jerry. That's just his Euclidean temperament. But how is Tex?
Oh, he's okay. He went with G47 to look at those ships on the surface. Through some kind of a periscope, I guess.
Through prism reflectors, Jerry. We have just seen the ship sail away.
Yeah, I guess the volcano eruption these guys put on sure scared him away. But give me a chance to tell us what happened to us. When Tex and I rushed back into the hallway after G47, the water started coming in.
We have seen all that, Jerry.
Huh? You what?
That's right, Jerry. Cheops took us into the room where you found us, and with some very wonderful equipment, which he referred to as prism reflectors, he showed us the room in which you were floating on the top of the water.
Yes, Jerry, and we could see that you had very little space in which to breathe.
Well, all that's over now, and we're all right. The important thing is those ships that were looking for the island.
I'm afraid that's all over, too, Jerry.
It is indeed all over.
Yeah, well, they're gone. And right now, I'll bet their radios are telling the world that the Magic Island was destroyed by that volcano.
If they will even believe there was an island, Jerry.
The Magic Island is a very real place to Mrs. Gregory and her little party of loyal friends. The finding of her daughter Joan on the island should have brought the story of the 14-year search to a happy ending, but such is far from true. Jerry and Joan, with Mrs. Gregory and the captain, found it comparatively easy to escape from the island. Now their position is much more difficult. 400 feet below the surface of the water, 200 feet below the spot where the artificial island is hidden in a volcanic crater, the mysterious city of Euclidia, a complete community, capable of sustaining life indefinitely, holds our friends tightly in its grip, and escape seems far away.
Come, Mother, we may as well return to our quarters.
Well, sure, Mrs. Gregory, come on.
I hate to leave Tex without knowing just where he is.
Well, we couldn't help him any if we did know.
I suppose you're right, Jerry.
He is indeed, Mother.
Very well, Joan, dear. I'll wait quietly for news of the captain. But why return to our quarters? We may as well continue our inspection tour of this underwater city and learn all we can about it.
It is time for our lunch.
Oh, boy. Grub.
grub.
Yeah, you know, grub, chow, victuals, eats, foods.
Jerry Hall, if you would only say what you mean.
Oh, I did. You just don't understand English.
Do you understand it?
Do I?
Please,
Why...
Joan and Jerry, don't start another of your arguments now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Gregory. Come on, let's go to lunch.
I don't feel that I care for anything.
Oh, sure you do. You've got to eat something whether you feel like it or not.
Yes, Mother. It is foolish to deprive yourself of the nourishment your body needs merely to give your mental depression full sway.
Hey, listen.
It is indeed time for our lunch, and we must hurry to eat it as we will be given only a limited time.
Very well, Joan. Are you sure which way we go?
Well, that's easy. We take that elevator right over there. One nice thing about this underwater city, they don't hide things as much as they did up in the island.
That is true, Jerry. We will be able to find our quarters at any time.
It's very obvious that the Euclideans don't feel it necessary to take any further precautions against our escaping. They know we can't escape.
Oh, gee, Mrs. Gregory. Quit acting so down and out. We're not licked yet.
Perhaps you don't realize when you're licked, Jerry, that I feel rather thoroughly beaten.
We are in no danger, Mother, and we have unlimited time in which to plan. There is still hope.
Oh, sure there is. But here's the elevator. I know it's the right one because the girl submarine commander showed it to me.
We must go quickly or the luncheon will be removed.
Yeah. We have to eat just when these fellows want you to or they take it away from you. Now, hang on tight, Mrs. Gregory. The commander said this elevator was mighty fast.
If she thought it fast enough to warrant her warning, it would probably be terrifying.
There are a number of handles which we may grip with our hands.
Yeah, and those handles look pretty shiny, like somebody's been hanging on plenty. Well, get set. Here we go.
Can you operate this, Jerry?
Oh, I can try. Well, I guess I can run it all right.
Well, at least we've been shot upward some distance in almost no time.
I think this will be where we leave the elevator.
I know blame well it's where I leave it. That was too fast for me.
We are on the proper level. The section containing our quarters is just ahead.
You're a good guesser, Jerry.
Oh, I must be. I sure didn't feel any too sure when that elevator would land us, though.
We are now walking on the noiseless steel. The corridor outside our quarters is noiseless. I think we are correct.
Yes. That should be the door right over there.
Hey, wait a minute. Sounds like another elevator coming.
Well, well, well.
Oh, Tex, I'm so glad to see you.
Did you come up in one of those rocket elevators?
I sure did. And when those things take you places, you really get there.
Where have you been?
Talking to G47. I'll tell you all about his weed. That lunch signal gives only so much time. Isn't that right, Joan?
That is correct, Captain. We will have only a few hundred seconds in which to enjoy our luncheon.
Well, maybe we can eat it in a few hundred seconds, but we sure can't enjoy it much.
This is our door, isn't it?
I think so.
We're home.
Home. Oh, Jerry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's the matter?
Mother has been very depressed, and Jerry and I have had no success in attempting to improve her frame of mind.
Oh, forget it, Pat. Now let's see what these Euclidean wizards have brought us for lunch.
Oh, boy. Fresh cantaloupe. Well, go ahead, Joan.
Go ahead.
Oh, make your wisecrack. Dig up some fancy name that none of us ever heard of for cantaloupe.
It is not necessary to correct you at this time. Cantaloupe is the proper designation for this form of muskmelon, though your pronunciation of the name leaves something to be desired.
Okay, what is it?
Cantaloupe, the name being derived from the castle in Europe where this melon was first grown. Cantaloupe Castle.
Well, cantaloupe, it's swell.
Indeed it is, Jerry. Ice cold and perfectly ripened.
I have to hand it to these Euclidean gardeners. They make food taste better than we can. They grow it under artificial light.
Are you sure this melon was grown here, Tex?
Positive. G47 told me that everything eaten in Euclidia was of their own production.
It sure couldn't be any better if it had grown under real sunlight.
I think you are all making a mistake when you refer to the sunlight of this underwater city as artificial.
How can we be mistaken, Joan? We're under the ocean. This light doesn't come down through the water. We know it's manufactured here. Therefore, it's artificial. Surely there's no argument as to that.
Afraid not, Joan. It just isn't sunlight. Not real sunlight.
It does the work all right, though.
Precisely. It performs all the functions of sunlight, therefore it is sunlight. The Euclidean light covers a far larger spectrum than sunlight, particularly in the ultraviolet wavelength. And when properly controlled by quartz filters, the amount of health-giving ultraviolet light may be accurately regulated. and not depend on the season of the year, the altitude, condition of the atmosphere, relation of the sun to the zenith, and countless other factors which prevent people in your world receiving a constant amount of the beneficial shorter waves.
All right, Joan, I give up. These Euclideans certainly look healthy enough, even if they do live under the sea. And if they can do everything with artificial light that we can do with the sun, there's plenty of room for argument over the use of the word artificial.
There's nothing artificial about this salad either. The celery is so crisp it sounds like a windstorm when I bite it.
No, I haven't heard it. Bite harder.
Oh, I think I'm making enough noise, Jerry.
Now, that's better, Pat. That laugh did you good.
Indeed it did, Mother. You must not allow yourself to become so sad and worried.
I'll try to remember that, Joan. After all, we're all in the same predicament, and if the rest of you can be cheerful about it, there's no reason why I shouldn't.
Now you're talking. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I don't see how anybody could be anything but cheerful with a meal like this in front of them.
I would say there was but little of the meal left in front of us at this time.
That's right, Joan. We've certainly eaten as if we never expected to get another meal.
Well, looks like we didn't eat this one any too fast, either.
Why, the table is sinking through the floor.
It is, indeed. We were late in arriving for our lunch.
Oh, so that's where all this food comes from. I thought of noiseless servants jumping in and out with huge trays while we weren't watching.
This thing works just like a dumbwaiter.
It seems to. I suppose there is a passageway below this section where food is delivered to the living quarters from the kitchen.
Well, I'll bet you're right, but I'll miss my guess if they call them anything as common as kitchens here.
You may be sure they do not. On Euclidia, the chambers where the food is prepared are referred to as the dietary laboratories.
Uh-huh. I knew it.
These scientists just can't resist dressing everything up in technical terms, can they?
They do seem to lean that way. But if all our meals are as appetizing as that one was, I'm not at all interested in what they call their kitchens.
Me too. I mean, me neither. Oh, no, neither am I. Oh, something.
Oh, that floor section nearly caught my foot.
I was watching for it. I knew they wouldn't leave a hole where that table went down. Well, now that we've had our lunch in 200 seconds, or whatever it was, let's talk about what we've accomplished so far.
Well, we know that the volcano eruption that the scientists put on scared away that fleet of ships Johnson had come down here to try and rescue us.
And we know that with them went our last hope of rescue.
No doubt of that. We'll never be allowed to reach any means of communication here. But there's always the chance of escape.
I agree with you, Captain. Escape from this city below the sea would seem difficult and may prove an impossibility. But until that is proven, I feel that we should hope and continue to learn all we may about the city.
Good girl, Joan.
That's the spirit. And, Pat, I want you to get in line with the rest of us. We'll get out of this place if it takes a year or 10 years.
I'll do my part, Tex. And for myself, I'm not so greatly worried. I've spent over 14 years looking for Joan, and now that I've found her, I can be fairly content anywhere with her and with you, Tex. But it's Jerry I'm so worried about.
Oh, gee, I'm all right. Why worry about me? Well, I'm a swell time here, and I can stand anything the rest of you can.
Well, it isn't that, Jerry. Your father will be terribly distressed over your absence. If only we could get word to him that we're alive and well. The poor man must be nearly out of his mind.
Yeah, I guess it is sort of rough on Dad.
We will advise your father the instant we are allowed to operate any means of communication.
We sure will. Now, in the meantime, let's plan and keep thinking.
Did you learn anything of value to us in talking to G47?
Plenty, but I haven't figured out how we can use it.
Oh, what was that, Captain?
Well, the one thing I was most worried about, as far as our escape is concerned, was the fact that the island is submerged and is going to stay that way for an indefinite period. At least a few months, until the world has forgotten us completely and given us up for lost. I thought all the submarines, planes, radios, and everything we might use for an escape were in the island. But they're not.
They're not?
They're not.
Oh, that is splendid, Captain Bradford. There are means to escape from this city where we may have access to them.
The means are here, though our having access to them may be something else.
Well, I'll bet it will be. Don't forget we stole one of their submarines the last time we escaped. And when they got it back, after Joan blew it up with those bombs in the Catalina Channel, well, it wasn't anything but a bunch of junk.
And G47 will be very bitter over the loss of his submarine.
Naturally. They are expensive beyond belief and difficult to construct.
I thought of all those reasons for the old boy to be mad at us, and he surprised me plenty when he thanked me for spoiling his submarine.
He did what?
G47 thanked you for almost destroying that beautiful boat?
He did, and he meant it.
But I do not understand that, Captain Bradford. G47 cared more for those submarines than anything on Euclidia.
Right, and that's why he was grateful to us. We showed him that his idol had feet of clay. The submarines weren't as perfect as he thought, or we wouldn't have been able to render that one helpless so easily. He thinks we've done him a big favor in showing up the weakness in that boat, and he's asked me to help him design another, eliminating the faults we found in that one.
Tex, It's almost unbelievable. G-47 has asked you to help him on a new submarine.
He has?
Oh, boy. There's your chance to begin to plan for our escape.
And more than that, I'm to be allowed to see the rocket ships.
They actually have rocket ships?
I told you of the rocket-propelled airship.
Better than that, Joan. They have rocket ships built like submarines which will operate under the water, on the water, or in the air. And those rocket ships are somewhere in this underwater city. Somewhere that we'll finally locate. And when we do...
When we do, we'll know how to escape from you.
Exploring Tomorrow.
And now, here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell.
The 2 o'clock jet from Montana has just landed at New York, bringing in some 200 passengers, including some who have come to the world's largest city for the first time. Roy Bartlett is one of these. Big strapping kid out to seek fame and/or fortune. And New York was ready for him. The ancient custom of fleecing the country yokel will not die out for quite a few centuries to come. He just emerged from the port terminal and was looking around, big-eyed and confused and bewildered by the immensity of it all, when a girl came up to him.
Hello there. Waiting for someone?
You speak to me, miss?
That's who I was talking to, handsome. I asked you, are you waiting for someone?
Oh, no. That is... I just got here, miss. I came in from Montana on the jet plane there.
Oh. You got friends here?
Oh, I'm afraid I don't, miss. I just sort of decided to up and come to the city and sort of try my luck at it.
Well, maybe I can help you. I sort of like you.
You do?
Mm-hmm. You know, something in me wants to help strangers, to show them the ropes. And I've got free time now. I'd like to, spend it with you.
Oh, you're so kind. You're so pretty.
You think so?
Oh, yes. You're the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Your smile, your eyes, you're good. I can tell you're warm and sweet. It's good of you to come to talk to me like this, to stand so close to me.
Well, I think I like you, too. What did you say your name was?
I didn't. Oh, I mean, it's Bartlett, Roy Bartlett.
Well, I'm Diana Lawson. You're big. Strong out there. Handsome.
Well, does it always happen this way?
Suppose we stop in for a bite to eat at that refresher mat and get to know each other, huh?
I think that's a wonderful idea.
You see how it works, Troy? Each drink you want, you put a half credit coin in the slot and punch out the combination.
Mm-hmm.
For a martini, you punch out 436, like it says on the board up there. Here, give me the money. I'll get us some drinks. Huh?
All right.
436. There we are.
Wow.
2 nice dry martinis. Here, you take yours and we'll go to that table. Oh, careful, silly. Don't spill it.
Well, aren't we going to get anything to eat?
Oh, we can eat later. The occasion calls for a drink to celebrate your arrival. Here you are. And sip it this time.
Well, I'm sorry if I did the wrong thing with the drink. I just didn't know, you know.
Of course you didn't know. But you'll learn all these things, Roy. Where you from? Why are you here?
Well, I worked all my life on my father's farm, and he died last year and left me all alone out there, see. I kept things going a while and then figured I ought to try something different. And sold the farm and I bought a ticket to New York. A one-way ticket.
It must seem like a different world to you.
Oh, it does. Big and frightening, unfriendly. At least it seemed unfriendly at first. Till I met you, Diane. I can't ever thank you enough for coming over to me when I was alone.
You don't need to thank me, Roy. Just common decency to help a stranger out. Especially when he's a good-looking stranger. When are you seeing the central computer?
The what?
The central computer.
Huh?
Well, it runs New York, you know. Keeps the trains moving, the traffic lights, everything. You have to register with the computer when you establish permanent residence here. If you don't have a job, the computer will give you one. You didn't know that?
I guess I hadn't heard. Well, where do I find this computer?
Just ask any policeman. He'll get you there.
Diana, you're swell for helping me out like this. I mean, I was... Oh, there's some way I could thank you for this.
Oh, I told you it's just common decency. Roy, the money from the sale of your farm, did you bring it with you?
You bet. Yes, sir. $5,000 in cash and the same in traveler's checks.
Oh, so much. You're carrying it around with you?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, that's dangerous, Roy. You better put it in the bank right away.
Well, I don't know any banks.
Oh, I'll take you to one. Come on. Unless you want another drink before we go.
No, I haven't finished this one yet. There. Wait a minute. Those things taste better after you've had a few, you know.
Now, come along. I'll take you to the bank and then to the computer.
Oh, it's wonderful of you to take this interest in me. They warned me New Yorkers were unfriendly people, but they sure aren't.
Down this way. In here.
But it's dark in this... Hey!
Go ahead, Mike. Hit him.
Get away from me, you... Leave me alone. Diana! Come back! Diana!
You are Roy Bartlett, age 25, height 6 feet 2 inches, weight 185 pounds, born in Helena, Montana, 17 February 2184. Parents deceased. If any of this information is incorrect, please amend it.
That's all correct, sir.
Use of honorific titles is not necessary when addressing us. According to the report of the police officer who found you, you were beaten and robbed shortly after your arrival in New York.
That's right. She said she wanted to help me to show me the ropes in New York.
Identify more specifically the she to whom you refer.
She gave her name as Diana Lawson.
Describe her.
Oh, she's medium height, 5'4" or so, and blonde hair. Good looking. Cute face, though the eyes are a little hard now that I think about it. She looks about 23 or so.
Our record banks hold no information on someone of that name fitting the description you give. The name was obviously assumed. Your introduction to New York life was unfortunate, but not uncommon. Do you plan to remain here as a permanent citizen?
Yes, I mean, yes.
What are your vocational plans?
I'm afraid I don't have any.
Your previous experience is wholly agricultural. This will be of little use to you in the metropolitan area. Have you any preference for the type of work you would like to do? This would guide us in assigning you.
I'd like to help people, if you know what I mean. I'd like to keep people from having the thing happen that happened to me. I mean, New York is full of confused, unhappy people who have to prey on others like the girl did on me.
You regard her as confused, unhappy?
Of course. I can't think of her as being just, well, wicked. People aren't born bad or good, they're raised that way. Maybe she could have been helped a few years ago, and then she wouldn't have to go around robbing strangers.
You harbor no hatred for the girl.
I sort of never looked at it as hatred, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I can't help calling you, sir.
If it makes you more comfortable, you may.
Thanks, sir. Well, as I was saying, no, I don't hate that girl, Diana. I'd help her if I could.
She is a warped criminal.
But is that permanent, sir? Can't she be brought in and straightened out somehow?
There is psychological rehabilitation for criminals, yes.
Well, you mean if she could only be caught and brought in, she could be turned into a useful citizen?
If she could be found in a city this large, it is not always possible to track criminals.
Well, I'd like to try to find her, sir. That's my vacational plans. I'd like to become a policeman, sir.
You will have to face psychological testing first, of course, and a training period of 6 months. But let us warn you, Roy Bartlett, if your motive in this is one of revenge, you will not survive the first battery of tests.
Revenge? Oh, no, not revenge, sir. I want to help that girl. And the others like her. Honest, that's what I want to do.
This will be demonstrated in the tests.
Do you think I'll make the grade, sir?
The tests will answer that.
But you computers can figure probabilities. Can't you tell me if...
You are most unusual, Roy Bartlett. But the probability favors your success. You will be taken to the testing center immediately. And if you are approved, you will go to the training camp.
Oh, thanks, sir. Thanks for listening to me. Will you wish me good luck?
Our data banks do not show the validity of such a wish, Roy Bartlett. But if your statements today were sincere, you should have no difficulty attaining your goal. The robot will show you to the testing center.
Of course, a computer can talk about revenge. That's a word that can be put in its vocabulary. But it couldn't understand what revenge meant. It couldn't understand human feelings of any kind. For that, human beings are necessary. For that, Roy had to be passed along to human beings who could teach him, could understand him, could help him understand himself, and find what his life work should be.
Mind if I sit down here, miss? You seem to be alone.
I am alone. Glad to have some company. Sit down, stranger.
Thanks. Thanks very much. You waiting for someone?
Yeah, I was. I don't think he's going to show up. You must know how that sort of thing is. When someone you're counting on doesn't show.
Yeah. Yes, I know what that's like, Diana. And I've been looking for you almost a year.
You know my name. Who are
you? You mean you've forgotten me, Diana? I suppose you would have. The pitiful greenhorn you picked up last March?
The Montana fella.
That's right. Roy Bartlett. You taught me how to drink a martini, remember, in this very place. And then you taught me what it was like to be robbed by someone you trusted.
I'm getting out of here. You can't keep me here.
You'll leave when I want you to leave, Diana, not before. Sit still. Don't make a fuss.
Let go of my arm. You're hurting me.
Just sit and try to look relaxed. Don't attract attention.
You can't prove anything. Now, leave me alone. I'll call a cop.
Go ahead, Diana. Call one. Now, look.
That badge. Oh, no.
That's right. I found a job in the big city, Diana. 6 months of training and the breaking-in period. I don't happen to be wearing my uniform now, but the badge is real.
What are you going to do with me?
Take you away, Diana, to Psych Center, where they can help you straighten up and grow the way God meant you to. You know, girl, you really did help me, and it really was worth the $5,000 you took from me. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and you showed me how to get the kind of job I wanted.
What are you talking about?
You never done any farming, have you, Diana? Probably don't realize what a farmer's job is. Well, it's making things grow strong and right the way they were meant to. But I guess I got sort of tired of working just with plants.
No. They'll kill me. They'll make me into something I hate, and Something that'll hate me. It won't be me. I'll be a zombie or something.
I suppose it does seem that way. You never tried it the other way, though, have you? Without hate and bitterness driving you.
You mean tried being dead? No, I haven't.
No, I mean stop running and start doing what you want for yourself instead of what you think you want to do to somebody else. Now, look. We need Mike, too, your accomplice. He's outside, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's walk out together. Act natural. That's right. Just walk along with me as if I'm a rube you picked up when you're taking me down the block to that dark alleyway.
Yeah.
Where's Mike? Is he right behind us?
He ought to be. Mike, get him! He's a cop!
That stun gun blast ought to keep him on ice for a couple of hours. Long enough to get him down to headquarters, anyway.
I hate you. Why does this have to happen? Why couldn't you left me alone?
I wanted to help you.
Help me? By turning me in like this behind me over the head shrinker.
They'll heal you, Diane. Take all the bitter hatred out of your mind. Make you a useful citizen.
Who wants to be a useful citizen? I had a good thing here till you busted it up. Now they'll fix me so I'll have to go straight be a good girl. Sew buttons on shirts for 30 credits a week.
There are good jobs open for rehabilitated criminals. Nobody will hold your past against you.
Good job. I'll never be able to go near my old friends. I'll have to begin life all over as somebody new.
That's right. And I'll be there to help you start all over.
You?
Sure. I'll be there to help you. I told you I owe you that. Come along now. Let's go down to headquarters.
Some people like to work with material things, and some can't see beyond it. When they can't see beyond material things, they're like Diane. Some people like to work with information, bits of data. Accountants, lawyers, many people work with data and information. So do computers. But some go beyond that and want to work with human beings. Now, some lawyers are not merely information handlers. They're human handlers. I guess Roy was one of those who wanted to go beyond the material and even the low-living things. He wanted to work with humans. You see, Diane did do him a favor, and he did owe her a favor. She'd shown him what his real-life work should be.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellas and girls, somewhere in the Solomon Islands, there are a lot of big, tough, fighting Marines. And they're carrying guns that you may have helped to buy for them. That is, if you've been buying your share of war-saving stamps for victory. You see, every single dime you exchange for a war-saving stamp helps to buy the guns and bullets, planes and bombs, the ships and the shells that are going to lick the Nazis and the Japs. Now, we know that all red-blooded Americans can't actually wear Uncle Sam's uniform. Because some of us are too young or too old to join the Army or Navy. But there is one big, important way we can help. We can buy war-saving stamps and bonds. We can lend our money to Uncle Sam and put weapons into the hands of American fighting men. Why, do you know that your dime spent for a war stamp is the same dime used to buy 5 .45 caliber bullets? I guess you know, and the Japs and the Nazis certainly do, what a soldier or sailor or a Marine can do with 5 bullets. And speaking of sailors, you might be interested to learn that every time you buy 5 war stamps, that same 50 cents buys enough fuel oil to carry a destroyer a full mile closer to its objective. Now, that makes buying war stamps pretty exciting, doesn't it? Look, let's make a promise to ourselves right now. Let's promise to buy war-saving stamps every week regularly. And you can help even more than that. You can get your friends and your mother and father and all the people you know to buy war stamps and bonds regularly. They'll want to help, too, when you explain to them how important it is for all of us to do our share to help our brothers and friends in uniform. Our boys are going to win this war, and we've simply got to help them. So remember, every time you've got a dime, buy a war-saving stamp.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen are now in Arabia, having strange and bewildering adventures. In our last episode, we heard how the Countess Wojeska, who looks almost exactly like Lois Lane, fell into the hands of a band headed by a mysterious man in a red fez. To all appearances, they intend to hold her for ransom, her husband, the Count, being a wealthy man. Having decided on their course of action, Kent, Jimmy, and the Count returned to the room where they had left an unconscious Lois in the care of Sir Mycroft Bittersweet, a Shakespearean actor who'd attached himself to Kent and Jimmy. Here they were met by another surprise, for as they entered the room, Jimmy suddenly cried out,
"Sleeping mackerel, Mr. Kent. Look, the room's empty. Lois and Sir Mycroft are gone."
This doesn't make sense.
Well, I'll say it doesn't. What would the Red Fez gang want with Lois now that they've got the Countess Wojeska? Even though Lois and the Countess do look alike.
One moment, gentlemen. Am I to understand that when you came to my room, you left 2 people in this room?
That's right. Miss Lane and an old actor, Sir Mycroft Bittersweet.
And they're not here now?
Well, obviously.
Oh, I'm confused. As I understood it, this Miss Lane was originally spirited away because she resembled my wife, the Countess.
Yes?
And she was later returned because the band discovered that she was not the Countess. Now, what reason would the same band have for spiriting her away again?
I don't know. I haven't the vaguest idea.
Why should they take Sir Mycroft also?
Maybe they didn't.
What do you mean, Mr. Kent?
I do not follow your reasoning myself, Mr. Kent.
Let's be logical. We're just assuming that the band did capture Lois and Sir Mycroft. Yet we can't think of one good reason why they should have done so. Perhaps there is no reason. And perhaps they didn't spirit them away.
Oh, if they didn't, what's happened to them?
I don't know, Jimmy, but I certainly intend to find out. It seems to me... Look out! What?
Good heavens. Look there in the wall, a knife. It was thrown through the window.
Yes, I saw it coming.
You saw it coming? Well, how in the world could
Step back a minute, Jim. Let me get to that window. There's an old house across the street, boarded up and apparently not in use. Someone standing in one of those windows could have thrown that knife.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go get him.
Easy does it now, Jim. Whoever threw that knife made sure of his escape beforehand. He's out of that building and well on his way by this time.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But you said you saw that knife coming. How could you have? Golly, you'd have to have the eyes of Superman to see anything like that.
To see a knife flying through the air at that distance, Mr. Kent?
Oh, I didn't really see the knife. I just saw something gleam in the sun. Realized it might be a knife, and... Say, we're a fine bunch of detectives. Here we stand talking about the knife instead of doing something about it. Let's have a look at it.
Which of us do you think that knife thrower wanted to kill?
He didn't want to kill anyone. See here on the blade of the knife, a paper. It's a message.
Oh, what's it say?
It's addressed to you, Count.
Oh, is it a message about my wife? Tell me quickly. What does it say?
It says, your wife is safe and will continue so unless you go to the police. You will hear from us again within 12 hours. It's signed with a red fez.
Red fez?
Yeah, see here, Jim? A fez drawn in red ink.
Oh, those notes of warning. They told me to beware of the man with the red fez. Why didn't I take them seriously?
You can't blame yourself for this, Count. The red fez band would have gotten your wife in any case. What we've got to do is get her out of their hands before something happens to her.
Don't forget Lois and Sir Mycroft.
No, of course not.
Arabia, land of mystery and adventure. Golly, we're sure getting our share of it.
Yes, and I don't think it'd be a bad idea to dish a little of it out.
What do you mean, Mr. Kent?
I'm going to leave you two for a while. Both of you stay right here until I get back. And for heaven's sake, don't disappear.
Where are you going?
To the police.
Well, you can't do that. If they know we are in touch with the police, they will surely kill my wife.
I know, but...
You cannot go to them. It was you yourself who prevented me from doing the same thing.
Well, they'll be watching you like hawks. But I don't think they'll be watching me. And we can count on the police to be discreet, I'm sure. Now, wait here, both of you, till I get back.
But, Mr.
Better
Kent...
do what Mr. Kent says, Count Wojcicka. He usually knows what he's doing.
Very well. I leave myself entirely in your hands.
Good. I won't be long. Better keep this door locked till I return.
Okay.
I don't think I'll be going to the police. This is a job
for Superman. Off with this suit. There. I can leave through this window. I've got a visit to pay to a certain fortune teller. Up, up, and away!
Red cape streaming in the night wind, Superman speeds through the air over the rooftops of Mecca, his strange flight cloaked in darkness. Below him, the colorful life of the ancient Arabian city. And finally, there filters up to him from the streets the familiar cry his keen ears are waiting for. Superman comes to a landing nearby and then makes his way through the crowded streets toward the fortune teller. So colorful are the costumes of the Arabs that the blue and red costume of Superman goes unnoticed. He reaches the fortune teller and stands before him.
Tell your fortune, Effendi. Read your future in the sand.
No, I'm going to read your future, and not in the sand.
I understand you not, Effendi.
I'm going to tell your fortune. I have the power to tell you exactly what's going to happen to you in the next 5 minutes unless you come across with some information I want. Earlier today, you told the fortune of a young woman. Or rather, you pretended her future was so horrible that you wouldn't tell it. Later, you told the man who was with her that if he wanted to find her, he must follow certain clues.
I do not recollect.
Oh, yes, you do. You're as much a part of this little game as the man in the red fez or anyone else.
You make mistake, Effendi. Go away.
I've made no mistake. Now, look. See the minaret way up there?
I am not blind.
Tell me what I want to know, or I'm going to hang you on that minaret until you change your mind.
Please, Effendi, let us have no more of this insanity. Go away.
All right, you're asking for it.
No, take your hands off. Take your hands. Help. This foreign devil attacks me. Help in the name of Allah.
Too late for help now. Up to Daisy.
I'm flying through the air. Put me down. Release me in the name of Allah.
There. Here we are at the top of this minaret. Now hold still while I tie you to it with your belt.
No.
Hold still or I may drop you. You don't need to be a fortune teller to figure out what would have happened then.
Oh, hear me, Effendi, gracious Effendi. Who you are, I know not, but I will do anything. I will say anything. I will tell you anything at all.
That's better. Now then, out with it. Where is the Countess Wojcicka?
I have never heard that name before.
You lie.
By the beard of the prophet, I swear it.
Who is the man in the red fez?
I do not know.
Now listen to me. You see that crowd below, all of them looking up here, yelling and waving their arms?
Yes, I see.
Tell me what I want to know, or you'll join that crowd down there. I'll throw you off this minaret.
No. I would tell you if I knew, I swear it, but I do not know. The man in the red fez has not even paid me yet.
Paid you for what?
For doing what I did, for refusing to tell that girl's fortune, for telling the young man and the boy to follow the strange music when the muezzin called from the minaret. But I swear, Effendi, I know not who he is.
When do you get paid?
Tonight, within the hour. He promised he would come by and pay me.
Within the hour, eh? All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do with you.
No, not that. I have a wife and 6 children.
Listen to me and stop babbling. Do as I tell you and no harm will come to you. I'm going to take you back down to the street. You will wait there for the man in the red fez. When he arrives, take your money and say nothing. A friend of mine, Clark Kent, will be there to follow him. Is that understood?
Yes, clearly.
One word and...
may a camel kick me in the face if I utter one syllable. I swear it, Effendi. Not one single part of a syllable will I speak.
Good. Now I'll take you down.
Oh, that crowd down there. How will I explain, Effendi, what has taken place?
You're supposed to be a man with mystic powers. Tell them I'm a friend of yours from the other world.
Excellent, Effendi. It will increase my business 100-fold.
Now let me get this belt of yours loose from around the minaret.
Effendi, I have a thought. Together we could do excellent business. Would you join me as a partner? I will gladly give you half the business.
Down,
and you
down.
Gosh, Mr. Kent, these bazaars seem even more crowded at night. A lot more colorful, too.
Yes, Jim.
Golly, do you really think we'll get our hands on the man with the red fez?
If he shows up, and I have reason to believe he will, yes.
Well, how'd you get that fortune teller to confess so quickly?
Just by threatening him with the police. He's the type that scares easily. Oh, there he is, over there now. Come on, Jim. I want to find out if Red Fez has arrived yet.
Yeah, we may be too late. You shouldn't have come back to the hotel.
Well, I had to be sure you and the Count were all right. You never can tell what might happen in this fantastic place. Are you? Has he arrived yet? My name is Clark Kent.
Effendi?
Has he arrived yet? The man in the red fez.
Oh, no, Effendi.
Good. Well, I'll be waiting over there. Remember now, not a word.
Oh, no, Effendi.
Right. Come on, Jim. You can stand in that doorway over there. Jim!
Huh? Oh, coming.
What's the matter, Jim? Why are you staring at that fortune teller?
He's got a long, crooked scar on the back of his right hand.
Well, what of it?
What of it? Golly, Mr. Kent, didn't you ever notice?
What?
We know someone with a scar like that.
We do? Who?
Sir Mycroft Bittersweet.
Jim, you don't mean...
I certainly do. That bird's no fortune teller. It's Sir Mycroft himself.
Well, there is a surprise for you. Is Jimmy right? Is the so-called fortune teller actually Sir Mycroft Bittersweet, the Shakespearean actor? If so, how does he fit into the mysterious picture? The plot is beginning to thicken. Be sure to listen tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Tune in and follow the adventures of Superman.
Yes, be sure to tune in again tomorrow for another thrilling Superman episode. And don't forget what else you're going to do. You're going to buy war stamps as often as you can get Mother or Dad to give you a dime. Now, you know when you see that big capital S on a three-cornered shield, you'll recognize it as the emblem of Superman, and you know at once what it stands for. Likewise, when you see the capital letters U.S. on a war-saving stamp or bond, you'll recognize them as the emblem of Uncle Sam, and it represents a pledge from Uncle Sam to you, his pledge to use every dime you lend him when you buy war-saving stamps for more bullets and guns and planes and all the other things the American armed forces need to win a smashing victory from the Nazis and the Japs. So don't put off buying war stamps. Buy one every time you've got a dime. Uncle Sam is depending on you.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
This is Mutual.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here's an important message.
Fellows and girls, have you ever seen a squadron of American bombers roaring through the air in formation? Have you seen newsreel pictures of Uncle Sam's destroyers cutting through the seas on patrol in search of enemy subs and surface raiders? I'm sure you have, and I bet you were thrilled. You probably felt terribly proud, too. Well, if you've been buying war-saving stamps regularly, you have a right to be proud. Not only because those planes and those ships represent the fighting spirit of America, but because you helped to build them. Yes, sir, every time you bought a war-saving stamp, your money helped buy the labor and materials that are used to make planes and ships and equipment to knock out the Nazis and the Japs. So next time you hear some boy or girl on your block say, "Oh, shucks, what difference does it make if I buy one stamp or not? What difference can one dime make?" You tell them that it does make a difference. It makes a big difference. You tell them, for instance, that 5 dimes will buy enough fuel oil to take an American destroyer 1 full mile closer to its objective, or that 1 dime will buy 5 .45 caliber bullets. Tell them that if every boy and girl in the United States bought just one 10-cent war-saving stamp every day, it would add up to enough money to buy a lot of swift pursuit planes, with which our Army and Navy forces could blast the Axis out of the air. And while you're at it, you might remind them that this is one way that all you fellows and girls can help to win this war. Now, after all, everybody can't join Uncle Sam's armed forces, but all of us can buy war-saving stamps. So talk it over with Mother and Dad tonight. Tell them you want to help Uncle Sam win this war by buying war-saving stamps regularly, every single day if possible. And I'm sure that they'll be glad to cooperate.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen are in Arabia having very strange and exciting adventures. In our last episode, Countess Wojcicka, a Polish refugee, the living image of Lois Lane, had been abducted by a band of Arab desperados led by a man known only as the Fez. In the meantime, Lois Lane and Sir Mycroft Bittersweet, a penniless Shakespearean actor, had also vanished under mysterious circumstances. Dropping his disguise of Clark Kent, Superman went into the streets of Mecca in search of a certain fortune teller and forced him to reveal that the man known as the Red Fez would show up shortly to pay him. Returning to the scene later as Clark Kent, accompanied by Jimmy, he was met by a very strange surprise indeed. Listen.
You say there's something strange about that fortune teller, Jim?
Yes. He's got a long, crooked scar on the back of his hand.
Well, what of it?
There's only one other man with a scar like that, and that man is Sir Mycroft Bittersweet, the Shakespearean actor.
Jim, you can't mean that.
I certainly do. He's no fortune teller. He's Sir Mycroft himself.
But that isn't possible. I had a long talk with that fortune teller less than an hour ago, and he's certainly the same one. No. Now that you mention it, there is a slight difference.
Look, the Countess Wojcicka may be Lois's exact double. But if 2 people have that identical scar in the back of the same hand, well, I'll believe anything. Even that the moon is made of green cheese.
Well, if you say Sir Mycroft had that same scar on the back of his hand, then our so-called fortune teller over there must be Sir Mycroft. Unless what? Well, that scar might be painted on his hand, you know.
Oh, golly, Mr. Ken, I'm all confused as it is. 2 hours ago, we left Sir Mycroft in that hotel room, trying to bring Lois back to consciousness. Now we find him here disguised as a fortune teller. Now you say it may be the fortune teller disguised as Sir Mycroft.
Well, we've got to take into consideration all
You know something? I'll bet I'm not Jimmy Olsen. I'll bet I'm Lois Lane disguised as Jimmy Olsen. Or maybe I'm the Grand Mufti of Zululand.
I know just how you feel, Jim. All this is a bit confusing, but I think we're going to get to the bottom of it pretty quickly.
Well, good. Let's grab Sir Mycroft.
No need to rush into things. Let's be sure first that he is Sir Mycroft. Come on.
What are you going to do?
Move closer to him and see if we can recognize his voice.
Okay.
All right, quiet now. We can hear him from here.
Fortunes, tell your fortune, Effendi. Read your future in the sands. Oh, rummy sort of business, by Jove. No one wants to get his fortune told. Oh, well. 2 fortunes for the price of 1. 2 fortunes for the price of 1.
Did you hear that?
I certainly did. Come on, we're going to have a little talk with Sir Mycroft Bittersweet. Let me do the talking.
Okay.
Fortunes, tell your very interesting fortune. We'll even lie to make it interesting. Tell fortune, Effendi, special reduced rate.
Will you tell my fortune?
Pleasure, Effendi. Tell me what you wish to know. I will stir the sands and read the future for you.
Well, it's this way. An hour or so ago, my young friend here and myself left a certain Sir Mycroft Bittersweet alone in our room with a certain girl named Lois Lane. When we returned to the room, both Sir Mycroft and the girl were gone. Now, what I want to know is, where is the girl?
And Sir Mycroft?
Oh, I know where Sir Mycroft is.
You do, Effendi?
Oh, yes. He's probably fleeing for his life, thinking all sorts of horrors are after him. Shakespearean actor, you see. All talk, but really no courage at all. I figured him for a coward the moment I saw him, a weak-minded, frightened...
no, stop.
What?
I say cease, desist. By Jove, Kent, how can you say such things of me? Here I am, risking my very life.
Mr. Kent, do you hear what I hear? That sounds like some Mycroft.
The East is a strange and mysterious land, Jim. To think of this Arab fortune teller sounding like some Mycroft.
Well, I not only sound like him, I am him.
Poor fellow's out of his mind.
Yes, the poor man really believes he is Sir Mycroft Bittersweet.
Oh, devil take it, I am Sir Mycroft.
But you couldn't possibly be...
Kent, old chutney, for heaven's sakes, it's I tell you. I, Sir Mycroft, concealed under several layers of theatrical grease paint. Look here, old boy, you see, it comes off on my fingers, you see?
By golly, it does, Mr. Kent. Maybe this man is Sir Mycroft after all.
Oh, a wonderful boy, a most deserving boy.
But, Jim, if this man is really Sir Mycroft, what's he doing disguised as that Arab fortune teller?
Well, I can explain everything, by Jove.
Go ahead, then. We're listening.
Well, after you and the laddie here popped off to investigate room 24, leaving me with the unconscious Miss Lane in room 19, it occurred to me that Miss Lane might not yet be out of danger.
What do you mean?
Well, consider what had gone before, old boy. Miss Lane had vanished while walking with you in the bazaar. Then later, we'd seen a woman whom we mistook for Miss Lane in the lobby of your hotel. And we discovered that this woman was actually registered as a Countess Wojcicka. Baffling, what?
That's putting it mildly.
Well, I've never believed in exaggerating matters, you know. Well, to continue with this ruddy business, we find Miss Lane in your room unconscious. After you and the lad left, I directed my brain toward the task of figuring what might have happened. It wasn't long before I had the answer.
And what was that, Sir Mycroft?
Miss Lane had been captured by a band of desperados who had mistaken her for the Countess Wojcicka. Realizing their mistake, they had returned her to the hotel and would now try to get hold of the real Countess.
You've hit the nail square on the head, Sir Mycroft. That's exactly what happened.
You mean the beggars had actually made off with the Countess?
Yes. You see, after we left you, we went to room 24, where I intended to have matters out with the man in the red fez.
Yes.
And instead of finding Red Fez in room 24, we found another man.
Yeah, a guy with a beard and a long cigarette holder.
The Count, you see.
Oh, yes.
Well, we soon discovered that the Countess had been spirited away.
Then the Countess is now in the hands of the ruddy beggars who kidnapped Miss Lane, eh?
I'm afraid so. Speaking of Lois, where is she?
Oh, I took her to the Oxford and Cambridge Hotel, a little place in the east end of town I know quite well.
Oh.
Just had a hunch something might happen to her if she remained in the other place, you know, so I got a room for her and saw to it she'd be comfortable. She's there now, none the worse for her experience, except for a rather large bump on her head.
What I want to know is, what are you doing here disguised as a fortune teller? And where's the fortune teller?
Behind that wall over there, all trussed up like a Christmas turkey.
You mean you...
No, trifling matter, really. I bumped him on the head a little, and that was that.
But why? Why?
Also easily explained. I deduced, you see, that the fortune teller had a hand in the little game that was being played. Ergo, if I were to become the fortune teller, I might learn something of vital importance. So far, nothing's turned up.
Well, something may at any moment. The man in the red fez is supposed to show up here to pay off your Christmas turkey there.
Oh.
Now, you go on pretending to be that fortune teller. Jim and I'll wait over in that doorway. When Red Fez shows up, let me handle everything.
Yes, right here.
Come along, Jim. Start fortune telling, Sir Michael.
Right you are. Tell your fortune, Effendi. Read future in the sand. Fortune. Hours passed as Kent and Jimmy and Sir Mycroft waited for the man in the red fez to make his appearance. Gradually, the crowd in the street thinned out, and the cold night wind blew through the alleys and bazaars. Realizing at last that Red Fez did not intend to appear, Kent, Jimmy, and Sir Mycroft decided to make their way back to the hotel where Lois was staying. They had reached a rather lonely street known as the Road of the Kaaba when suddenly Kent stopped short.
Wait a minute.
What is it, Mr. Kent?
I say, see something, do you?
Freddy, look across the street there. See that man moving along, keeping close to the buildings?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Say, I didn't notice him before.
He's deliberately trying to keep out of sight.
Well, if he wants to keep out of sight, let him.
Right you are, by Jove. We've got sufficient troubles of our own without messing in someone else's.
Listen to me, both of you. That man is Count Wojcicka.
What? Are you sure?
Positive.
How can you tell, Mr. Kent? Gosh, I can hardly see him from here.
Well, that is, he happened to pass close to that street lamp back there.
I say, by Jove, what's the ruddy beggar doing out here at this odd hour? What?
I don't know, but I intend to find out. I'm going to shadow him.
What?
That's right. Now, you two go on to the hotel where Lois is and keep her company. I'm going to follow our friend the Count.
Can we go with you?
It'll be easier and safer if I follow him alone.
That's right you are. Well, the Oxford and Cambridge is right down this side street. Come along, laddie. Good luck, Kent.
Thanks, but I don't really think I can.
Oh, a good man, Kent. Plenty of nerve, what? Good man to have with you in a spot.
Well, that's hard to say. Mr. Kent is so funny. Sometimes he's brave, and other times he's so scared he faints. I never could make him out. Neither could Miss Lane.
Is that so? Interesting. Very. Well, here's the hotel. Come along in, Jamie, my boy.
Right with you.
Yes, I'll get the key to Miss Lane's room at the desk. I say, you there behind the desk. Wake up. Wake up.
Oh.
Yes, well, now that you're awake, you can let me have the key to my room.
I say, get out of this hotel.
What?
Don't you see that sign there? No beggars or street fakers allowed. Get out now.
He doesn't recognize you, Sir Mycroft. He's still wearing that fortune teller's outfit in grease paint.
What? Oh, by Jove, of course. Look here, old fruit. This is just a disguise, then, you know. Masquerade and all that. Underneath these rags beats the heart of a true Britisher.
Oh, is that so? What's your name?
Bittersweet. Sir Mycroft Bittersweet.
Oh, yes, of course. I have a message for you from the young lady.
What young lady? You don't mean Miss Lane?
Oh, golly, don't tell me she's not here.
Yes, she left about an hour ago. Asked me to tell you she was going to the old mosque.
The old mosque? Well, what the bloody devil has she gone to that abandoned Arab temple for?
I'm sure I don't know, sir.
Well, we've got to act. Come along, Jamie, my boy. We're going to that old mosque as quickly as our legs will carry us.
Why had Lois returned to the old mosque where she was first held prisoner? For further thrills and mystery, be sure to listen tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Tune in and follow the adventures of Superman.
By all means, don't forget to tune in to Superman tomorrow for another thrilling and exciting episode. And don't forget to talk to Mother and Dad before you go to bed tonight about making arrangements to buy war-saving stamps regularly. Start the day off right tomorrow. Buy at least one 10-cent war-saving stamp first thing after breakfast. And remember what I told you at the beginning of this program. Every single dime is important because all our dimes put together can go a long way to help pay for the guns and tanks and planes and ships we need to knock out the Nazis and the Japs. And here's an idea. Why don't you get together with your friends tomorrow and make a joint pledge to buy war-saving stamps every time you've got a dime? See which of you can buy the most war-saving stamps every week and every month. Help Uncle Sam smash the Axis. Do your share to win this war.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
This is Mutual.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invite you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off. -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Solar Guard headquarters in Equator City is one of the newest and most imposing buildings in that thriving metropolis. In an office on the 95th floor of the tower, Cadet Tom Corbett presses a button which opens a sliding door to admit a visitor. A tall, good-looking stranger enters the room and, smiling, extends his hand.
Cadet Corbett? That's right. My name's Polk. Leo Polk, mostly called Lucky, which I usually am.
What can I do for you, Mr. Polk?
Well, I wanted to see Captain Strong.
Captain Strong blasted off for Delport 3 days ago.
For Delport? Ouch.
Oh, what's the matter?
Well, Lucky Leo's not so lucky. I sure wanted to see Captain Strong.
Oh, sorry, but you see, Delport's a newly discovered planet with its own atmosphere, a tropical belt that's a regular paradise in space.
And mineral wealth, too, I hear.
So you know about Delport?
Yep, I heard about it just the other day at Venusport. And about some kind of colonization race. Now, what is that, anyway?
Well, Mr. Polk...
Leo, huh?
Okay, Leo. Since it's such a rich planet, the Interplanetary Council is opening it up to colonists. A group of rocket ships blast off tomorrow at dawn. Ship owners and crew members get the right to claim sections of land in order of their arrival.
Now you're talking. Corbett, that's what I'm here for. I want to go along.
I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Why not? Look, Corbett, I hold an unrestricted pilot's license. Not only for solar system travel, but outer space as well.
Well, that's not the point. The race starts in just a few hours, so the crews are all, well, they're all made up.
No passengers? I might be able to raise some money.
Say, Tom, I've got that list of it. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you had a visitor.
No, that's all right, Astro. Meet Leo Polk. He's a licensed space pilot.
How are you?
Wanted to sign on for the Delport land rush.
Have you explained about
Yeah, Corbett saw me.
There's been a lot of interest in this thing, Mr. Polk. Why, look at this list of spacemen who put their names down as substitutes, just in case some regular crewman gets sick or something.
Well, you got any pilots on that list?
Well, let's see. Wiper, power engineer, spacehand first class, radio repairman, astrogator, communications engineer. We've got about every rating here except pilot.
I wish you'd put me down.
There's not a chance in a million, but if you want me to list you...
Thanks, Corbett, I do. If you need me, I'll be at the Corina Hotel.
Right.
Well, I won't take up any more of your time. Thanks a lot, gentlemen.
What an optimist. The biggest land rush of the century, and he expects to get in on it at the last minute.
Yeah. Nice guy, though. Hey, wait. Don't take off your jacket. It's time for evening inspection.
Oh, let's do it after chow. I've been on the jump all afternoon, and I'm starved.
We can't take any chances, Astro. If those 5 ships don't blast off on schedule tomorrow morning, we'll be a couple of ex-cadets. The spaceport sure is quiet tonight, Astro.
And look at the sky. Wish we were at Delport now with Roger and Captain Strong.
We'll be there soon enough. Somebody had to stay behind to make sure that none of the 5 ships jumped the gun. You know, took unfair advantage.
Oh, nobody's going to try any funny stuff after all.
Astro, watch your step there.
Blast it. Now, what dope left a duffel bag out on the field?
That's no duffel bag.
Well, be a Martian mouse. It's a man.
Throw your light on him.
Tom, look. His head.
Yes, he's hurt.
Here, I'll turn him around a little.
Great galaxy, Astro. Don't you recognize him?
It's the pilot of the Thespian. And is that going to be trouble?
Well, why? What do you mean?
The Thespian. That's Chatfield's ship. You know, Chatfield the actor. If he can't blast off for Delport with the others, he'll have our hide.
He's going to blast off, Astro. It's our job to make sure of that. But first, let's get this poor guy to the hospital.
Hey, Tom, you're certainly in a hurry to get out of this hospital.
We've got work to do.
Yeah, but Doc says the pilot may regain consciousness soon, and he may be able to tell us who slugged him.
And Chatfield's there. He'll join us at the Serena Hotel as soon as there's anything new.
Serena? Why are we going there?
Chatfield needs a pilot. And remember our friend Leo?
Polk, you mean? Who was in the office this afternoon?
Right. If we work fast, we can screen him and have Chatfield all set by blast-off time.
Desk's over this way, Tom.
Right. Let's go check. Oh, blast. What now? Hello, Mr. Sutton. Astro, why don't you get Polk's room number while I see what Sutton wants?
Is that the Sutton who owns one of the expedition ships?
Yeah, the New World is his. And that's his captain with him, name of Dunning. Go on, Astro. Get the room number.
Okay, but you better get rid of them fast, Tom.
Corbett, you're just the man I want to see.
What can I do for you, Mr. Sutton?
We've heard rumors that Chatfield's ship won't be blasting off tomorrow.
Oh? Now tell me, Dunning, where did you hear that?
Well, it's all over the place, Corbett. The way we hear it, the Thespian's pilot's in the hospital. So naturally, without a pilot, they're out of luck.
Oh, there you are.
Mr. Chatfield.
Listen, Corbett. My pilot swears that the villain who attacked him
wore the insignia of a New World crewman on his sleeve.
You must be blast happy, Chatfield. Plain crazy.
Now, look here, gentlemen.
You two are the crazy ones. Crazy to get to Delport first. Crazy to claim the mineral deposits by the lake. Crazy enough to kill.
Of course we hope to grab off the mineral deposits, don't you? Why, they're the biggest prize on the planet.
Don't try to lie out of it. Corbett, my man saw the New World insignia on the man who attacked him.
It's a frame-up.
So I demand that you place Sutton and Dunning under arrest right now.
You are crazy. Why, you broken-down ham-act.
Broken down, Dunning, eh? Well, I'll show you.
We're no fighting break it up, both of you. If it's the strap you want, Chatfield, we'll be glad to oblige. Let me at him, boss. Dunning, put away that blast. Anything he can start, I can finish. I said put that blast away.
Let's go.
Corbett.
Tom, look out. He's trying to fire.
Tom. You've killed him, Dunning. You've killed him.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Spacemen, attention. Here's our latest report on your official space goggles. Right now, a spaceship is headed on a course toward Space Academy with a special cargo of emergency rations. Space Academy is stocking up with a needed supply of Kellogg's Pep, that swell-tasting cereal with a rich malt flavor. You see, now more than ever before, the cadets need the wonderful food energy everybody gets by eating the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Every cadet is standing extra duty and working hard so that you can get your pair of space goggles as soon as possible. Well, the cadets don't mind this added work because they want you to have this valuable piece of space equipment. They want you to have the protection you need, whether you're heading into the glaring sun, bucking a strong headwind, or working with tools in your workshop. These streamlined space goggles help give you protection against the elements. They're made of one sweeping curved piece of colored plastic, and they give you full, clear visibility wherever you look. Now, to get a pair, here's what you do. Send one Kellogg's Pep box top, 25 cents, and your name and address. One box top from Kellogg's Pep, 25 cents, and your name and address. Send to Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Here it is again. Send to Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Be a regular spaceman with an official piece of equipment from Space Academy. Send for your space goggles today.
On the eve of the land rush expedition to the newly discovered planet of Delport, two of the competing rocket ship owners, Chatfield and Sutton, get into a fight. And Dunning, Sutton's captain, mixes in with a blast gun. Tom Corbett tries to disarm him. But as they struggle for the gun, it goes off. And Tom falls apparently lifeless to the floor. Now, a few minutes later.
By the craters of Luna, Tom. I thought you were a goner that time.
I just got caught in the fringe of the blast. Help me up.
Steady now.
Chatfield okay?
Yes. You grabbed Dunning's arm just in time.
Well, then all's well.
Not quite. They're holding Dunning outside, Tom, so you can prefer charges.
Tell them to let him go.
Huh?
Astro, nothing must interfere with blastoff. All 5 ships go on schedule.
If you ask me, the New World ought to be grounded.
Maybe so, but that business of the insignia on the attacker's arm, well, it just looked a little pat. As though it might have been a frame-up.
Oh, there you are.
Hello, Polk.
Hi, what happened to you two anyway? I waited in my room after Astro called, but you didn't show.
I'm glad you came down. Still want that pilot's job?
Still want? You kidding?
Not a bit of it. Don't ask any questions. There's no time. We've got to screen you right away.
You're wasting time, Corbett.
Well, why?
I'm Lucky Leo, remember? You can screen me, find out I've got 2 heads, or even no head at all. I'm still blasting off in the morning.
There's the teleceiver. Sounds like a local call.
I'll get it. Solar Guard Headquarters, Expedition Section.
Hello, Corbett. Anything new on my pilot? I'm getting worried. We only have a few hours left.
We've just finished. Folks okay, Mr. Chatfield.
Then I've got a pilot.
That's right.
Well, in the words of the bard, sweet are the uses of adversity. 1,000 thanks to you, Corbett.
We're as glad to straighten this out as you are. Just be ready for blast-off at dawn.
I shall take all swift advantage of the hours. Until then, sir, farewell.
What a character. He took this better than I thought.
Tom, listen. If the thespian pilot was beaten up to keep Chatfield's ship out of the race,
Yes?
then whoever did it might try again.
Right. I've already asked for extra guards on the firing tables.
Oh, good. Tom, let's get in a little sack time.
Not tonight, Astro. Get your parallel ray. Right now, we're going out to join those guards.
Hold up a minute, Tom. Somebody's moving around over there near Sutton's rocket.
Come on, Astro. Let's investigate.
You there! Come out of those shadows.
Certainly, gentlemen. Good evening.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Chatfield.
What are you doing out here on the spaceport at this hour, sir?
Killing time, waiting for dawn. And a long wait it is, too. Oh, weary nights, oh, long and tedious nights, abate thy hours. Shine, comforts from the east. From Midsummer Night's Dream, you recognize the lines.
I'm afraid not, sir. But we'll have to ask you to leave the firing table area until 2 hours before blast-off.
Rules, rules, rules. What slaves we are to regulation.
Mr. Chatfield, there's been one unfortunate incident already tonight, and we... Tom, the alarm bell.
It's a fire. Look over there at the north end of the field.
A veritable inferno.
Quick, Astro, alert all crews. There's enough rocket fuel stored in that hangar to blast us all to space dust. Back out of the way, everybody. Here comes the emergency squad unit. Stand back. What happened, Tom? Keep back, Captain Dunning. This rocket fuel may go up any second.
Tom, help me clear a lane.
Okay, Astro. Everybody else is into the field. Clear out now, on the double, please.
That's far enough, driver. Leave the main unit there.
Get those foam guns trained on that hangar door. I want to detail 3 men to follow me around on this side.
You 3 in asbestos suits follow Cadet Corbett. Take portable guns.
Come on, over this way. That's it. Now get up close to those windows and open up in the foam. If those flames ever reach the rocket juice, the whole field will go. Okay, that's far enough. Open up.
Smothering on this side, Tom.
Good. Bring your men around my way, Astro.
Come on, you heard him. Let's go.
That's it, men. Train all your guns on that wall.
Look at that foam chilling the blaze.
It's under control now, Astro. Another few minutes and the fire will be out.
We're certainly lucky it didn't start in the back of the hangar, close to the reserve fuel.
We wouldn't be here if it had.
What I want to know is how that fire started. It couldn't be spontaneous combustion with all that automatic safety devices around.
I've been thinking the same thing. The only possible way a fire could break out here would be for somebody to deliberately set it. And then he'd have to disconnect the extinguishers.
Tom, that doesn't make sense. To sabotage the expedition, you'd set a fire on the other side of the field, where the ships are.
I know it doesn't make sense, but I'm sure this fire was no accident just the same.
Now hear this. All expedition ships secure. It is now 8 hours minus 3 minutes.
All secure, Mr. Sutton.
Oh, very good, Dunning. Now stand by for the blast-off signal.
Aye, sir. We're in fine shape, except for those 2 space cadets aboard.
Oh, well, they won't get in our way.
I don't like it, sir. Why do they have to be on the New World?
Well, the names of all 5 ships were put in a space helmet. Ours was the one drawn out. It's as simple as that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Sutton. If Cadets Astro and Corbett delay us in any way at all, you've got a kick coming to the Interplanetary Council.
Don't worry. In 2 minutes, we blast off. Those other ships will stay behind us all the way.
Expedition ships stand by. It is now 8 hours minus 20 seconds.
Firing control set, Mr. Chatfield.
Now we are in the hands of fate.
With Lucky Leo aboard, you've got no worries.
I hope so. I have my heart set on that lakeside mineral claim.
It's yours.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's been a nice, quiet voyage so far, Tom.
I'll believe it. When we make contact with Captain Strong at Delport, Astro.
By the rings of Saturn, I'll be glad to see the Polaris again. I don't like these civilian tubs.
Oh, I don't know. This seems to be a sound enough ship. I wouldn't want to be aboard the Draco, though. That's a real beat-up crate.
I wonder how we're doing in the race.
Now, here comes Captain Dunning. He can tell us.
Well, boys, how's everything?
Fine, Captain. Any reports yet from the other ships?
We've had the Thespian on our radar screen for the past 6 hours. We can't be very far from her. I don't know about the other 4, but it's the Thespian I want to keep an eye on. She's our only real competition. Great galaxy. What was that?
An explosion. Sounded like the port side.
Well, what could it? There's the alarm. We're losing oxygen.
Let me get to that intercom. Hello. Damage control.
Lieutenant Sutton, there's been an explosion in the port supply locker. There's a hole in the hull as big as a space site.
Close the compartment doors. Seal it off.
I can't. They're jammed. Something's wrong with the wiring. We're losing our oxygen supply fast.
Here's the locker, Astro.
Jumping Jupiter, look at the size of that hole.
Now, if there's only some emergency rubber slabs stored here.
There are, Tom. Right here.
Well, quick, give me a hand. We'll slap one over that hole.
Right. Grab hold.
The inside air pressure ought to hold the patch in place temporarily anyway.
There. That plugs the leak.
Astro, the explosive that caused this was planted here, and I think I know when.
Oh, what are you getting at?
That senseless fire on the spaceport last night. Don't you see it ties in with this? It was set to create a diversion so somebody can rig up this explosive.
Hey, I'm beginning to feel strange.
Yes, so am I. I wonder how much oxygen we have left.
Hold it. Astro, what have you done here?
Put an emergency patch on the leak, Captain. But we better get some men out on the hull with welding torches.
No good. We've lost too much oxygen already. We're 50% below absolute minimum.
50%?
No wonder it's getting hard to breathe.
Might as well face the truth. We're riding a death ship. Not one of us will reach Delport alive.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Space Academy to Power Deck Polaris.
Power Deck, Astro speaking. Just a moment, sir.
What's the delay?
I'm adjusting my space goggles. The heavy glare from this reaction gas is giving me trouble.
All right, Cadet Astro. When ready, you may proceed with the special tele-recording.
There. That's better. Spaceman, now that I've put my space goggles on, the reaction mask doesn't bother me. You know, I don't know where I'll be when you hear this special recording, but you can be sure of one thing. I'll have my space goggles with me. They sure come in handy when I'm working with reaction masks here on the power deck. These official space goggles are made of a sweeping one-piece colored plastic, and they fit over both eyes. They'll give you eye protection from bright lights, sun glare, and heavy winds. So write down these instructions on how to get your pair of official space goggles. End transmission.
Spaceman, send one box top from Kellogg's Pep, 25 cents, and your name and address. One box top from Kellogg's Pep, 25 cents, and your name and address. Send to Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Send for your space goggles right away. And tomorrow morning, be sure to eat the Spaceman's Breakfast, Kellogg's Pep. That's well-tasting, build-up wheat cereal.
As the rocket ship New World streaks through outer space bound for the distant, newly discovered planet of Delport, an explosion suddenly tears a hole in her hull, through which the ship's precious supply of oxygen pours out. Tom and Astro succeed in hastily patching up the hole, but the air supply is dangerously low, too low to sustain an Earthling's life.
Tom, can't hold out much longer. I hardly breathe.
Pull yourself together, Astro. Help me.
What are you doing anyway?
Help me remove oxygen tanks from these spacesuits. Tanks ought to help us and crew keep alive a little while longer.
Okay, Tom.
Hey, what are you two doing with those spaceships?
Let me explain.
Get away from them. But listen, we need them ourselves. Put those tanks in the jet boat. Give me and Dunning enough oxygen to reach Delport.
Abandon your crew? You can't.
Certainly can. Will too. Stand clear.
I have all the crummy...
The audio.
Don't try anything, Corbett. I warn you.
Just want to answer that call.
Spaceship Thespian calling New World. Spaceship Thespian calling New World.
Chatfield. New World here. We read you, Thespian.
Corbett, we heard your operator's distress signal. We
We're making a sweep to stand by and lend assistance.
Something. Did you hear that? I don't believe it. Why should Chatfield ruin his own chances to help us?
What's your position?
We've nearly completed our maneuver. We should be ready to set up a supply feed in 3 minutes. Can your crew hold out that long?
We'll hold.
Just stand by and we'll pump part of our oxygen into your ship. Enough oxygen to reach Delport anyway.
Chatfield, you realize what you're doing? This is sure to cost you the race.
Never mind that. There is a spaceman's code, you know. Stand by for company.
Why, Jupiter, that actor is a real spaceman, which is more than can be said of present company.
Like your jets. And if you know what's good for you, keep them plugged.
We just lost our heads, that's all.
All right. But now you can open those tanks on the spacesuits. So your crew will be alive when Chatfield gets here.
Okay. Get busy, Dunning.
By all the galaxies, Tom. We're going to make it to Delport.
That's right, Astro. We may come in last, but we'll come in alive.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett and the Space Cadets on Thursday, when the race is on for mineral wealth on the fabulous planet of Delport, in the second part of The Vultures of Space. Tune in, same time, same station on Thursday, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the Build-Up Wheat Cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Al Markham, David Kerman, and Maurice Tarplin. Today's program was written by Gilbert Braun, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran, raisins and bran flakes too. They're out of this world, they're out of one package. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Kellogg's raisins are honeycomb coated to keep them tender. The bran flakes crisper. Kellogg's Raisin Bran, raisins and bran flakes too. They're out of this world, they're out of one package. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Transcribed. Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, brought to you tonight by Plymouth, with exciting news about a $25,000 contest and a brand new 54 high-style Plymouth coming Thursday. You're together in a room, you and the one you love, the objects of an experiment, while the man who has dared you to undergo his test is waiting for the moment when you break, and in your defeat, find that there is no escape.
This is the week. Thursday's the day the brand new 54 high-style Plymouth makes its debut. And what a car. Big, bright, beautiful. Longer this year with a sleek, low, wide look. And a new kind of beauty to set everyone talking, everyone exclaiming about Plymouth's luxurious high style. Never before in the low-price field have you seen such elegance in the appointments of a car. Such fabulous fabrics and choice of color combinations. Such unusual attention to detail. It's high style, all right,
exclusive in the new 1954 Plymouth. And remember, Thursday's the day to see the new Plymouth and also to enter the big Plymouth contest. $25,000 in prizes, including 6 handsome new 54 Plymouths. We'll tell you more about this exciting contest later in the show. Meanwhile, remember, Thursday's the day to visit your Plymouth dealer for a first-hand look at the big, bright, beautiful new 54 Plymouth.
Listen now as Escape brings you Stephen Vincent Benet's unusual story, Elementals. I sometimes think of it. Not often, because it's too frightening. But just sometimes. It's a thing that you'd never believe could have happened. But it did. When I look across the room at Kathy, I remember that time not too long ago. The night it started. That was the real beginning. It was a slow night. I kept cruising around looking for a fare and thinking. Driving a cab, well, it hadn't been too bad. But there was Kathy. We were engaged, wanted to be married, and money was a pretty big problem. Then I saw the two men standing under the marquee of the Broadway Theater. Now that was something more practical to think about. A fare.
Eastwood Club, 40th Street.
Yes, sir?
Well, Gaines, what did you think of the play?
I found it very moving.
Did you really? Sentimental dribble. May I quote for you? When it comes to the invisible power that rules life itself, we find that it is, as always, love. The love of a man for a woman.
Well, what's so funny about that?
It's not funny, it's pathetic. Love. It comes in a poor last in running the inhabitants of this planet, I can assure you.
Well, what do you think comes in first?
The elementals. Fear, hunger, and hate.
Oh, I don't believe that.
You can't face it, you mean?
Nonsense.
Logic should tell you that I know what I'm talking about. The greatest accomplishments, all of the world's progress is in one way or another brought about through hate, struggle, killing. Certainly not love.
You're wrong. Men do more for what they love and believe in.
Oh, don't be naive. Love. Well, there aren't a pair of lovers in the world, but I couldn't turn against each other. Well, I'll go further. I could take the most devoted couple and have them gouging each other's eyes out in a week. And I wouldn't touch them.
You honestly think...
I honestly know. Of course, it would have to be an average man and woman. Him, for example.
Who?
Kenny.
Yes, sir?
Have you heard what we've been talking about?
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you think?
I'm sorry, it's against the company regulations to get in arguments with the customers.
The devil with regulations. I assume you've got a mind. What do you think? Am I right?
No, sir, you're not.
You're in love?
Yes.
Undying, perfect love?
We're happy with it.
And you think I couldn't part you?
No.
Would you like to make a bet on that?
No.
There, Gaines, you see?
I don't see it.
It's obvious the man says he's in love, but he won't gamble on it. He knows I'm right.
I think you're nuts, sir. And this is the Eastwood Club. I'll say this for him. He gave me a $1 tip. And I'll say something else for him. He didn't belong in this century. That's what I told Kathy when I got off. And then we forgot about it. Until one evening a week later when I got a call at the garage.
Mr. Davis Latimer?
Speaking.
How do you do, Mr. Latimer? This is John Slake. You do remember. You drove me to the Eastwood Club last week. We had a slight discussion about love.
Yeah, I remember all right. How did you get my name?
I took the trouble of noting down your cab number and checking with your company.
I see. Well, what can I do for you, Mr. Slake? I'm on my way out to work and
Well, Mr. Latimer, I shall come immediately to the point then. I'm a rich man, Latimer, and I'd like to make you an offer. One you won't wish to turn down.
What kind of an offer?
Well, I'd rather discuss that in person. Will Sunday afternoon be convenient?
What kind of an offer?
Oh, you're suspicious, Mr. Latimer.
Yeah, that's right.
Very well. My offer has to do with money. Money for you. a good deal of it. And I assure you that you will have to do nothing which will in any way compromise your high moral principles.
Look, mister, this is your idea of...
I'm extremely serious. If you will call at my house on Sunday afternoon, you will find it to your advantage. However, there is one point. I wish you to bring your young lady with you.
I don't know.
Think it over, Mr. Latimer. I'm sure you're a sensible man, and believe me, my offer is no joke. My address is 490 Park. You will think it over, won't you?
I'll talk to her about it.
Good. I look forward to seeing you both on Sunday. Now, Miss Vane, Mr. Latimer, to business. My offer. Did he speak of it to you, Miss Vane?
Yes.
Well, excellent. And what was your opinion of my theories?
Are you married, Mr. Slate?
No. Oh, no.
Then you wouldn't understand. You're wrong.
Good. You share your fiancé's views that nothing could come between you. At least not I.
No, I don't think you could.
Would you both be willing to test my theory? Let us say, pit your love against one of my brute elementals.
What kind of test?
A test by hunger. Hunger, Mr. Latimer.
That's your offer?
Only part of it. The part that I feel might interest you is the remuneration. There will be a certified check of $10,000 waiting for you if your love proves stronger than my hunger.
How do we prove that?
You will be without food of any kind for 10 days. At the end of that time, a piece of bread will be thrown between you. If you're still in love with each other, you'll of course share the bread between you. If, however, you're in the grips of my elemental, hunger, you'll fight over the stale crust like two beasts.
That's silly. We wouldn't. No two people in love would. That's what love is.
Well, perhaps you're right, but I'd like to be convinced.
Look, are you serious about this? $10,000 for going hungry for 10 days?
Well, why not? I'm being generous. I'm offering you $10,000 to back up your own statements. And I'll even cut the time down from 10 days to 7.
No, I don't plan to starve Kathy or myself to prove anything to you.
Oh, forget about me. You can use the $10,000. Otherwise, you wouldn't be driving a cab. You and Miss Vane could be married immediately instead of penny-pinching your way through years of endless drudgery to save up enough money.
Yeah. Thanks for the drinks, Mr. Slate. We'll be going.
No, wait a minute. He's right, David.
What do you mean he's right?
He is. We haven't got anything to lose. $10,000. And if that's all we have to do...
I give you my word.
Why not? We love each other, don't we?
Well, sure we do.
All right. Let's do it.
Look, I'd have to quit my job.
I'll make it up to you, Mr. Latimer. I'll double your salary. Triple it. Even if you lose our wager.
Oh, Kathy.
Yes. I'm not afraid.
Okay. You're on, Mr. Slake. During the next few days, it was all arranged. The experiment was to run from Monday through Sunday midnight. Kathy and I were put in a large room in the upper story of Slake's mansion. We were always visible through large glass doors. There was an iron cot and mattress at each end of the room, a table, some chairs, and that was about all. At 12:01 Monday morning to the minute, Slake came in to issue his last instructions as our 7 days of starvation began.
I have provided you with sanitary facilities on all the running water you want. However, I'm afraid you must do without soap or toothpaste. Unfortunately, they are edible. My apologies, Miss Vane. Lipstick and rouge are also forbidden for the same reason.
What about reading? Books, magazines?
I'm afraid not. You would find the pages too tasty to resist as time passed. The same applies for pencil and paper. Any other questions?
No, I guess not.
Very well. You understand that no matter how you beg, plead, scream, or cry out, you will not be given food for the next 168 hours. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Well, I wish you luck, then.
The first day was easy enough. We talked about old friends, made plans for our future, played word games, anything to pass the time. We even made jokes about food. hunger pangs didn't come until the middle of the second day. They came in suddenly with the sharpness of iron teeth, biting hard into your stomach and letting go, then biting again. Both of us felt it.
Are you all right, Dave?
Yeah, you?
Oh, of course. You're not sorry we started this thing?
No. No, of course not. $10,000, I can take it for a week if you can.
A week? That's not long, is it? Besides, it's only 6 days now.
As the day wore on, the hunger pains grew worse. The iron teeth jabbed into my stomach harder and harder. And in between, all I could think of was food. Winter breakfast in the country, hotcakes, golden, puffy, a huge warm pile of them browned in yellow syrup. Roast beef, thick slices, real thick. And rare. Then that evening, Slake, who was always there watching behind the glass doors, stopped in on us. He seemed to read my mind.
Everything perfectly all right, I suppose, Mr. Latimer? Miss Vane?
Yeah, everything is fine, Mr. Slake.
Charming. You are admirable guests indeed. You make so little demands on one's hospitality. You know, I wished for you at dinner this evening. I really wished for you.
Did you, Mr. Slake?
Yes. The bisque had a trifle too much whipped cream for my taste, but the fish was perfection. Baked bluefish, you know. And the roast...
Cut it out!
Oh? Forgive me, I didn't realize my elemental had already begun to touch you.
Don't worry. You're not going to win.
Perhaps not. But a similar test was attempted in the 16th century by a Prince Alessandro on a devoted couple in his court. The results were most interesting.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yes, really. They tore at each other's flesh. Tangled themselves into such a horrible knot that Alessandro's men could hardly get them apart. That's how strong their love was, Mr. Latimer.
We will return to Escape in just a moment. But first... Hello?
Hi, Bob. You listening to Escape on the radio?
Sure, always do.
Well, then you heard what they said about the new 54 Plymouth coming out Thursday. I was wondering if...
I'm way ahead of you, John. Meet you right after work Thursday, and we'll have a look at it.
Swell. And what I was going to suggest...
Well, of course, John. We've got to enter that contest. Somebody's going to win that gorgeous new 54 Plymouth convertible. Trouble is, I can't decide which color I'd like.
Sorry, Bob, old boy, but I'm taking a stab at that contest, too. New Plymouth convertible would look mighty good in my garage, and we can't both win first prize. Afraid you'll have to settle for one of the Plymouth sedans they're giving away, or one of the cash prizes.
Okay. We'll see about that. Right now, I want to get back and hear the rest of Escape.
Me, too, but don't forget, we got a date to see that new Plymouth on Thursday.
On the third day, the hunger pangs were no longer sharp jabs. Now it was a constant, violent, gnawing, nibbling feeling inside. It was a pulling ache deep in my head as if someone were jerking my brain from its socket with an ice hook. I know she was feeling just as badly. We tried to talk to each other, but we'd already said everything there was to say 5 times over. She tried to cheer me up, but a voice suddenly had a whine to it that was driving me out of my mind. Everything was driving me mad. I couldn't think straight anymore.
Dave?
What?
Tell me about that time you ran away from home.
You've heard it 100 times.
I'd like to hear it again.
You're a liar.
Dave, don't.
Shut up.
Well, we've got to do something, Dave. I thought if we... Look, why don't we count the bluebirds on the wallpaper? You know, I found a new way of counting them. If I start from the side, I can get 22 bluebirds to each row instead of 21.
I don't want to count bluebirds.
You must.
Stop whining.
I know. Mark off the room. That's fun.
I've marked it off 1,000,000 times. 1,000,000 times. You want to know the figures?
Yes. Tell me the figures.
40 shoe feet long, 30 shoe feet wide, 43 bare feet by 31 and a half bare feet, 126 fists by 97 fists, 1,213 thumbs by 931 thumbs. Are you satisfied?
That was wonderful, Davy.
What was wonderful about it?
I'm trying my best, Davy. I'm just trying.
Stop trying. I'll hit you. I swear I'll hit you.
You think I'm not hungry, too?
I hope you're starving. You did this to me. It's your fault. I'd never be here if you didn't stick your face into it. Starve. Go on.
I hate you. You're horrible.
Get off that chair and over to the cot, because if you don't, I'm going to smash your face.
Good evening.
What do you want?
I trust everything's all right.
No, everything's not all right, you fat pig.
I thought I detected signs of gathering violence.
Why don't you get out? Go on, get out.
I could never forgive myself if anything should happen to the young lady.
I don't need your help, Mr. Slake. I can take care of myself.
I'm afraid not.
You heard her. She doesn't want you here. Now get out.
But Miss Vane doesn't appreciate the power of an elemental. It can easily turn the man she fancies she's in love with into a murderer. That's why I believe I'll sit down and stay a while. Oh, Jacques? Jacques.
Oui, monsieur.
Duty calls. I'm afraid I'll be forced to dine in here.
Eh bien, monsieur. What is it that monsieur desires this evening?
I don't know. I think an American cuisine for tonight. Let me see. We can start off with shrimp cocktail, but be sure it's surrounded with plenty of cracked ice. Next, I'd like soup, clam chowder. Rich, thick clam chowder.
It will be as you order, monsieur.
And for my entree, steak. A thick, juicy steak, quite rare, seasoned with garlic and smothered in onions. Well, Mr. Latimer, I must say you're handling yourself very well. All right, Jacques, I'll order the dessert later. You may go.
Monsieur?
I didn't look at her. I didn't care. Both of us were pretending we didn't see, we didn't hear. I don't know why. Slake sat with us smiling. Nobody said anything. I watched Jacques leave and come back a while later with a tray bulging with food. I felt myself shivering inside. But I still didn't say anything. I waited until Jacques set the tray down on the table in front of Slake.
Oh, the steak is tender tonight, monsieur.
Excellent, excellent. I find myself with quite a vigorous appetite. Oh, don't go yet, Jacques. I may need you.
Slake put his fork into the thick white meat of the shrimp, streaming with red sauce. That's when I jumped out of it.
Get away! Get away, animal! I suspected you were up to something, Latimer.
I don't want the food. I've got to have it. Slake, I'm not taking it anymore. I can't. I'm not going to go.
Stay back. Stay back, I warn you.
No, I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Stay back. Now, one more step and I won't miss, Mr. Latimer.
Dirty.
Really? I'm not as bad as all that. I even considered giving you a bite to eat before.
Why?
Now that I'm not. Would you like that, Latimer?
No, no.
I assure you I do. Of course, I don't appreciate being attacked and then vilified by a torrent of insults.
No, I lost my head, Mr. Slake. Yes, I did. You're a really clever man, Mr. Slake. You're very clever. I'm sorry. I'm just a taste, that's all. Just a taste. I don't remember how long I cried. When I stopped, my mind was all right again. For a minute, anyway. I saw Kathy lying in the other cot far into the room. She was sobbing. It was a sad sound. I remembered what I'd done. I hobbled over to her cot. Kathy.
Don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me.
I don't want to hurt you, darling.
You're not angry, Dave?
I didn't know what I was saying before. I can't be angry with you, darling. I love you.
Dave. I'm sorry. I'm hungry.
That night it was worse than ever. It was a nauseous, heavy hunger that nagged and wouldn't let go. I drank gallons of water. I poured the useless flimsy stuff down my throat until I choked, but I got no relief. No. Morning finally came. What was worse yet, the dizziness set in. I tried to get up. The floor kept falling away. I had rubber legs. I found myself getting angry at a crease in the carpet at my untied shoelace. I managed to get to one of the chairs in the center of the room. I can't tell you what for. Then I saw Kathy coming toward me, crawling on all fours.
Dad?
Yes. What is it?
Help me up. I want to sit in the chair.
All right. You made me fall.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. What good does that do? Stay away from me. What is it? Stay away. Dave.
Stop.
Cry. Go ahead. Cry. You're ugly.
No.
You're ugly. You have. You stinking dirty old mop. I hate this. Oh, your fault.
No. Don't talk to me that way now.
Hey, get away from me. I can't stand the sight of you. You make me sick. Get away.
I hope you starve to death. Hear me? I hope you starve. Starve. Die.
I lost all track of time. It may have been 5 days, 6. I don't know. I heard strange sounds that were part of me but seemed to come from outside as well. I also remember crawling. There was a squawking voice that came from my chest but didn't sound like me. That kept talking to itself. I had more cream. Yes, sugar too. And potato, please. Lots of potato. French fry. No. Lamb chops today. Steak tomorrow. Bacon. Well done. I'm hungry.
You want to be horsewhipped for this, Slake?
I don't want any sermons, Gaines. Are you ready to witness the test?
Yes. Let's get it over with, for heaven's sakes.
All right. Now watch. All right, get up. There, between you. The food is there on the floor. Get up!
I saw it. The bread on the floor. A tiny dot. Far out in space. Painfully, I slid down from the couch. On all fours, I slowly pushed forward. I noticed a woman on the other side of the room, lying on her cot staring at me and at the bread. She tried to get up, but couldn't. I wondered who the strange, skinny woman was. I finally reached the bread. I touched it shyly. It was soft. I felt it as my hand closed around it.
Dave?
Woman again.
Dave?
I wondered whose name she was calling. Didn't really matter, though. I picked up the slice of bread and sniffed.
Helen, did you hear me, darling? Kathy?
I started to put the bread clumsily into my mouth.
Darling, I'm so hungry.
That was Kathy. Catherine, the girl I was going to marry. And she was hungry. So I rose to her. I started across the miles of carpet. Bread. You made it.
You first. I'm hungry.
No. I love you. It's for you. I love you.
Gaines, get them out of here. Give them the money and get them out of here. Hurry up and get these babies out of my sight.
like to win a brand new 1954 high-style Plymouth convertible? Well, then be sure to enter the big Plymouth contest that starts this Thursday. $25,000 in prizes, including 6 new 54 Plymouths and hundreds of cash prizes. Your Plymouth dealer can give you an entry blank next Thursday. You'll see it contains a complete list of the prizes and the easy rules. But don't put it off because the contest closes midnight, Monday, October 19th. So how about a big red circle on the calendar around this coming Thursday? That's the day to see the new 54 Plymouth and enter the big contest. Is it a date?
It's big. The 54 Plymouth. It's right. The 54 Plymouth. Big, right, beautiful too. The 54 Plymouth is a car for you.
Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you Elementals, a story by Stephen Vincent Benet, adapted for radio by Meyer Dolinsky, starring Tony Barrett as Dave Latimer, William Conrad as John Slake, and Georgia Ellis as Catherine Vane. Featured in the cast were Ben Wright and Byron Kane. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Escape, transcribed, was brought to you by Plymouth, along with a reminder that you visit your Plymouth dealer on Thursday, enter the $25,000 contest, and see the big, bright, beautiful new 54 Plymouth. Thursday.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
The American Broadcasting Company Radio Network presents Space Patrol. High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have entered a laboratory on the planet Mars to capture a criminal. With ray guns drawn, they advance toward their foe, who suddenly darts behind the high-frequency generator.
He's trying to get out the door, Commander.
After him, Happy, before he gets away.
Yes, sir. I can't move. You're in a high-voltage field. Throw down your gun. I can't.
We'll be back in a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol story, Voyage to the Future. Obligation. It's a big word. What does it mean? Debt, perhaps? Duty? Yes. Necessity? Certainly. And for young men between the ages of 17 and 18 and a half with a military obligation, the National Guard offers many advantages and opportunities. If you enlist in your local National Guard unit, you may start your training right there at home. There's no need to interrupt your work or school. And as long as you maintain a satisfactory standing, you will not be placed on active duty unless your unit is called in a national emergency. Inquire about the unlimited opportunities the National Guard offers you by contacting your local armory. Preparedness now is a safeguard against the future. Do your part by enlisting in the National Guard. Now, today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Voyage to the Future. Commander Corey has captured a criminal who has accidentally made an astounding discovery. The same hyperspace mechanism that enables star drive ships to travel enormous distances can also be used to send the ship back through time to any period in the past. An accomplice of the captured Dr. Scarno managed to escape with a pirate treasure that had been brought forward through time from the 16th century. At the Terra spaceport, Buzz and Happy are taking Dr. Scarno into the star drive ship in which the criminal scientist made his remarkable discovery.
All right, Scar. Now, before we blast off, let's get a few things straight. You're still in custody, understand?
Yes, Commander.
You're here because you're the only one who knows how to use the hyperspace mechanism to travel through time. If you cooperate, we'll be speeding up your rehabilitation treatment. You'll be a free man that much sooner.
Just tell me what you want me to do.
I want you to help us locate Phil Bristol.
But he hasn't got a Starlight ship. I don't have the slightest idea where he is.
No, but you've got a good reason for wanting to catch him.
I have.
Happy means the pirate treasure.
You mean I get to keep it?
After you complete your treatment at the rehab center, it's yours. You dug it up and you're back in the 16th century. Since we don't have any laws at present governing time travel, the gold is yours by right of discovery.
Well, that's very generous of you, I must say.
You bet it is, Scarno. Scarno, here's my plan to capture Bristol. After we blast off from Terra, we'll set a hyperspace vector for the planet Earth. About 2 days back in time.
But Commander, Bristol is in the present.
I know. You disappeared from the spaceport around these mountains 2 days ago, and you were on your third trip back into the 16th century.
Yes? So?
Within an hour or so, we know when he blasted off. And if we go back to that time, we can see him escape.
And do you think you can stop him? Prevent him from doing something he already did 2 days ago?
That I don't know. Perhaps we can get a line on where he headed when he left the spaceport. Well, we're cleared for blast-off, sir. Space control to signal.
But it would be dangerous to use this ship. It was in bad shape.
When we stole it. Yes, but I've had it checked. Mechanically, it's spaceworthy. The hyperspace computer is out of alignment, but that may be the reason the ship is able to travel in time.
Is the computer tampered with?
No, it's just the way it was the last time we used it. All right, prepare for blast-off. Hap, close ports.
Close ports.
Fire jets.
Fire jets.
Up ship and away. We're up to star drive velocity, Commander. All right, Hap. Scarno, had you set the hyperspace vector?
Yes. We should emerge near Earth with a time coordinate of minus 51 hours.
Good. You can see Earth as it was at 1400 hours 2 days ago. I'm cutting in the star drive. How do you feel, Scarno?
Well, a little dizzy, but I don't think I'll black out this time.
You're probably getting used to the hyperspace transition. Happy, ready to check Earth with the viewscope.
Yes, sir. Hey, we're going back into regular space already.
Scarno, your job is finished for the time being. Just sit back and relax.
There's the Earth. Now to focus the viewscope on South America.
We'll vector in a few thousand DUs nearer the planet.
Well, what if we check Bristol's spaceport and he isn't there?
You mean we miscalculated the time. Let's go back an hour or so.
Hey, Commander. There's a ship in the starboard viewscope, outward bound from Earth.
Quick, Cap. Get it tight and fast.
Yes, sir. It's a private cruiser. Class C.
Just try to ship it that description. Zandy's port. Is that right, Scarno?
Yes.
Increase sensitivity and get the register number, Hap. Bristol ship was EPC 504S.
Maybe he changed it.
He doesn't have time.
I can just make it out, sir. It's EPC 504S.
That's Bristol's ship, all right.
Hey, if we change vector, we can be on him in a few minutes.
Bristol tried contacting him by spacephone. Mandatory aboard Star Drive Cruiser JS-14, pulling Phil Bristol aboard private cruiser EPC 504S. Mandatory to Bristol. No response.
That changes speed or vector. He must hear you. Hey, maybe a warning shot of the spaceport.
Oh, I forgot. The ship isn't armed. I wouldn't use it anyway. I don't think it would have any effect.
Why not?
For him, we may not exist in this part of space. The ship is now a time machine. We can see out and look at the past.
But Bristol being in the past can't see us.
There's one thing we can do. And that's follow Bristol's ship.
We're gaining on him, sir. I guess you were right about him not being able to see us.
Yes, he'd be changing vector or something like that.
Seems to be on a Mars trajectory. We'll follow him and make sure.
You were right, sir. Bristol's heading for Mars.
Mm-hmm. Apparently he's going to land at Lowell City. Lowell City. Scarno, do you know if Bristol has any contacts in Lowell City? Any place he might hide?
Yes, he mentioned a pal named Orman Betson.
Who is this Betson? What does he do?
Anything that pays a profit for very little work. As a front, he's an aerial prospector. You know, he flies over land with electronic probes searching for precious metals.
That sounds like honest work.
You don't know Detson.
All right, it's now minus 50 hours, 40 minutes. Set up the hyperspace computer to return to our present time.
Look, that's more than 2 days from now. Bristol may be somewhere else by then.
We can't get a lead on him from Detson. We're backtracking through time. Now get busy, Scarno. Set a vector for Mars, present time.
Ormond Detson's laboratory in Lowell City is small but well equipped. The array of ore samples, charts, and testing devices indicate that Detson is a serious, capable expert on metals. At this moment, he is examining some coins handed him by Phil Bristol.
Yeah, they're gold, all right.
Of course they are. But look at the dates on them. They're genuine Spanish coins minted in the 16th century.
They look too new to be genuine, Bristol. A coin collector who knows his business will just laugh at you.
They're 14 centuries old, I tell you. And I've got a whole chest full of them.
A real pirate treasure. You've stumbled on some of Captain Kidd's hidden loot. Really, Bristol, I'm insulted to think you try to pass such a phony job of counterfeiting off on me.
Detson, listen. I know this is going to sound crazy, but these are the real thing. They were transported from the past into the present. That's why they look new.
Oh, sure. I should have known.
They're right out of the 16th century. If I'm lying, I hope a bolt of lightning strikes me dead.
Oh, you sure jumped.
What was it?
Nothing to be alarmed about, Bristol. If you don't get close to that machine over there. I'm charging up some fake tellurium.
Oh, what's the idea?
I plant the stuff in some land a friend of mine owns. We sell the valuable property to a sucker. And we split the profits.
Great. But is it dangerous, the machine, I mean?
You're near the machine during a charge and you're holding a piece of metal, you get knocked across the room, that's all. In another hour, I'll have some fake tellurium, and we'll test out like a real thing. It's more than I can say for your Spanish coin.
You've got to believe me. I've been waiting here in Lowell City for 2 days when you got back from Venus. These aren't fakes. Dr. Scarno accidentally discovered a way to travel into the past.
Dr. Scarno?
Yes, he stole a Star Drive ship. The hyperspace computer was out of adjustment. And he ended up in the year 1591. He figured out how to control it. Now he could use the ship to travel in time as well as through space.
Where is Scarno now?
Unless he's still back in the 16th century, he's probably looking for me.
What?
That's why I need your help. Scarno left the treasure chest with me while he made another trip into the past.
And you double-crossed him? You idiot! For one little chest full of gold, you ruin a chance to make millions. Talk about killing the goose that laid the golden egg.
But listen, I didn't want to get mixed up with Scarno. The Space Patrol will be after him for what he did to Commander Corey and the Cadet.
Well, what did he do to them?
He's going to drop him off in the 16th century.
Drop them off? Oh, what a marvelous idea. I sure got to hand it to Doc Scarno. With Corey back in the 16th century, Scarno won't have to worry about him being here in the 30th.
But Scarno's still on the spot. Corey's got friends.
Sure. So has Scarno. Go to the next room, Bristol. Go on, get moving. Commander Corey.
What a surprise.
It's just that I wasn't expecting a visit from the top brass. I mean, it isn't every day I get a visit from the Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol, sir.
Are you Ormond Detson?
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for Phil Bristol.
Phil Bristol? I don't know anyone by that name.
We have it on good authority that you and Bristol are partners.
That's really funny, Commander. Who told you that?
A crook who calls himself Dr. Scarno.
Scarno? Oh, I thought he...
Hey, Commander, look. Look at this. Here on the desk.
What is it, man?
Gold coins. Spanish coins. Dated in the 1500s.
Just some imitations. For an exhibit a friend of mine is arranging. You see, this friend of mine has a hobby, duplicating coins of the past. You can tell by their new appearance that they're not meant to be the real article. They're just artistic copies.
These are the real thing, Detson.
What?
Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter, but they prove that Bristol was here. Where is it?
And he was telling the truth after all. Scarno did go back into the past.
That's right. Yeah, and he tried to Shanghai us back to the 16th century. At present, he's safely locked up in the compartment of the Star Drive ship at the spaceport. Tell us where Bristol is, or you'll be joining us. Now, don't try to get away, Detson. We'll use our ray guns.
You won't find Bristol if I'm unconscious.
After him, Happy, before he gets away. Yes, sir. I can't move. You're in a high voltage. Throw down your gun. I can't.
Quite a shock, wasn't it, gentlemen? When you recover, you'll get another kind of shock. From Doc Scarno.
We'll return to today's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Boys and girls, here's a little problem. How long does it take to cross a street? 5 seconds? 10 seconds? Well, that may be the right answer if you're careful to cross at the corner and wait for the traffic light. But if you cross in the middle of the block, it may take you weeks to get to the other side. Yes, weeks. Weeks spent in the hospital or in bed at home with broken bones and bruises that come from being in an automobile accident. Don't forget, the motorist doesn't expect to find anyone in the middle of the block. He may not be able to stop in time. That's why it may take weeks from the moment you start across the street until you finally reach the other side. The second you might save isn't worth those weeks you might lose. So be careful. Cross with the light and only at corners. Remember, the life you save may be your own. Now back to today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Voyage to the Future. Buzz and Happy trailed the fugitive Phil Bristol to a laboratory in Lowell City on the planet Mars. Bristol's associate, Ormond Detson, at first denied all knowledge of the wanted man, but the presence of ancient Spanish coins proved Detson's story to be false. Faking an attempt to escape, Detson lured the space patrollers into a high-voltage field, stunning them with a strong electric shock. Now, Detson and Bristol, the two criminals, securely bind Buzz and Happy.
I am good and tight, Bristol. Later, we'll gag him.
How they happen to come here?
Scarno's plan misfired. Corey's got Scarno locked in the Star Drive ship at the spaceport.
Okay, all tied up. Let's get out.
No. We're going to the spaceport and rescue Scarno.
Detson, you crazy? We couldn't get into that ship.
With Corey and the Cadet with us, we can. We'll keep a blast gun in their ribs and make it look as though Corey was taking us to the ship.
I don't like it. It's too risky.
All right, relax. Corey, you're tied up.
Better turn us loose. Happy and I aren't back at the spaceport very soon. We'll be having company.
Don't worry. We'll be back on it, Corey. You're taking us to Scarno. If you try to tip off your men, we'll use a blaster on the first hero who tries to stop us.
Knowing that any attempt to escape or spread an alarm would be fatal to themselves and to others, Buzz and Happy permit themselves to be taken to the Lowell City spaceport by Detson and Bristol. Unchallenged, the two criminals, apparently escorted by the space patrollers, board the Star Drive ship and release Dr. Scarno. Scarno immediately takes charge and forces Buzz to blast off.
All right, Corey. Get away from the controls. Move.
Okay, Scarno.
Detson, you take over.
Sure, Doc.
Keep watching the view scopes. If you sight any space patrol ships, we'll go on the Star Drive.
Look, why don't we go back into the past to pick up some more treasure? We'll be safe there.
It isn't as simple as that. You have to know exactly where the treasure is.
Yeah, and besides, you can't do anything while you're in the past that would change the real future.
Hey, I've got it. We can't change the past, but we might change the future. The future hasn't happened yet.
You getting that, Doc?
We knew what was going to happen tomorrow, or next week we could clean up on investments, government projects.
Yeah, even sports events. Can you travel into the future?
There's just one way to find out. Set the computer to a future time and try it.
Doc, that's taking an awful risk.
We'll land this ship on Mercury, in a nice safe place with another spaceship handy in case we have to leave in a hurry. You, Bristol, will take this ship into the future.
But I don't know anything about Star Drive or hyperspace vectors.
The Cadet does. He'll go with you. I'll give complete instructions on how to set a vector for the future and for your return.
But, Doc, you can't trust the Cadet.
And I'm not so sure I can trust you. This is a chance for you to redeem yourself, Bristol. You can keep the Cadet locked up. He'll be your insurance in case you can't go to hyperspace. Now, just a minute, Scarno. Keep out of this, Corey.
Doc, I got an idea. The Gantolis project on Venus.
What about it?
The government commission hasn't decided yet whether or not to okay the power project near Mount Gantolis.
Go on.
If they're to go ahead with it,
We'll open the whole valley to industry, mining, and farming. Everything.
Yes, but there's another site under consideration.
Look, if we could look a month or two into the future, we know that information would be worth millions.
Experience. We'd clean up legitimately, too. Whichever way the commission votes, we'd be in on the ground floor.
How do I find out how the commission will vote, even if I do get into the future? Now, this is a new staff.
No, you idiot. You merely fly over Mount Gantolis. There's activity there, construction, mining, then you'll know the answer.
I'm warning you, Scarno.
I'll handle this story. You're staying with Detson and me at our Mercury hideout. That's to ensure the cadet's good behavior with Bristol. You understand what I mean, Cadet?
Yeah, sure.
Good. All right, Detson. Head back to Mercury.
In Scarno's hideout in a desolate region of the planet Mercury, Scarno stands by a spaceophone while Detson keeps Commander Corey covered with a blast gun. The three men look through a window watching the Star Drive ship grounded 200 yards away.
What's the matter with Bristol? I hope he's not having trouble with that cadet.
You just watch, Corey. Scarno to Bristol. Bristol, do you read me? Come in.
Bristol here, Doc. Just locked the cadet up. All ready to blast off.
All right, listen. If you want to live to see the real future, don't try to double-cross me again. Scarno out.
Doc, if this works, we'll own the entire United Planet.
Right. Knowledge is power, they say. You'll have knowledge. Knowledge no one else can get.
And there they go. Into the future.
Into ours.
If Happy doesn't come back, Scarno, you won't have it. Locked in the compartment, Happy feels the acceleration of blast-off. Then, later, the eerie hum of the hyperspace mechanism as the ship goes into star drive. Once more, the ship emerges into regular rocket drive. Still, Happy has no way of knowing where he is, either in space or in time.
All right, Cadet, come on out. I need you up forward.
Where are we?
Where we're supposed to be, over Venus. Hurry up. I need help to get back into Stardust.
And you're in the future?
Yeah. And remember, I got you covered. Just check the hyperspace computer. Be sure I got it set up right for a return to regular time.
How far into the future are we?
According to Scarno's calculations, 2 months. All right, get to work.
Hey, the view screen. Is that Mount Gantolis?
Never mind that. Your job is a computer.
Hey, look at all the activity down there in the valley.
That shows the commission voted to go all out on the Gantolis project.
And rockets. Look at Mount Gantolis. Smoke is pouring out of it. It's erupting.
Yeah, what do you know? A volcano.
If you look closer to the east, you can see cracks in the smoke. Bristol, we've got to warn those people down there in the valley. There's a volcano erupting. Quite.
Never mind. Get back to Scarno.
Scarno can go kiss a cow. If we warn those work crews in time, they can get out of the valley before that hot lava comes pouring down on them.
Get away from that spaceophone, Cadet, or I'll use this ray gun.
That won't get you back to Scarno. For the love of Jupiter, Bristol, if you don't think anything of human life, at least think of your future investment.
All right, go ahead, but make it fast.
Don't worry. Urgent. Emergency. This is Cadet Happy aboard cruiser JS-14, now over Mount Gantolis, Venus. Calling Gantolis Project and all Space Patrol units in the Venus sector. Emergency. Attention, all Venus stations. Mount Gantolis is erupting. Clear the lower valley immediately. Cadet Happy calling all Venus stations. Acknowledge. Repeat. This is Cadet Happy aboard Star Drive ship JS-14. Sound disaster alert in the Gantolis area.
All right, Boy Scouts, you've done your good deed. That's enough.
Bristol, maybe they didn't hear you.
Maybe they can't hear you. They're in the future. We're from the past. Now, come on, fix up that hyperspace vector. We're going back to report to Scarno.
As the Star Drive ship settles down near the hideout on Mercury, Scarno sends Detson out to bring Bristol and Happy into the hidden stronghold. Scarno shoves Happy toward Commander Corey.
You two stand over there. This tricky move from either of you, and I'll use this blaster.
Happy, you all right?
Yes, sir. I think so.
And quiet. Bristol, did you make it? Did you get into the future?
Yes, sir.
What about Mount Gantolis? What did it look like?
I don't remember.
Cadet, you tell me. Did the Gantolis project go through?
I don't know. There's something I try to remember. Maybe it was a dream. At least I could think of it.
Scarno, they seem to be in a state of shock. I don't know why.
All I want from these men is a simple answer. Did they get into the future?
It's a blank from the time we went into hyperspace until we came out. I must have had a dream. Horrible. Almost a nightmare.
How fast can you
No,
Better remember or I'll beat it out of you.
Hold it, Scarno. Maybe it's impossible to bring anything back from the future, not even a memory.
Why not?
Bristol and Happy are back in the present. Memories return to the same condition they were in before.
Scarno, give me that gun. I'll beat some memories out of Bristol.
Get Scarno, Hap.
Yes, sir.
All right, Dexter, had enough?
Yeah.
Bristol's out cold, sir. Well, I think the rest of the set is fighting among themselves. Hey, what's the matter? Where's Scarno?
He ducked out while we were busy with his time.
I see him now. He's nearly through the ship. Hey, I'll go after him.
No, Hap, you'd never make it. I'll run the missile unit to watch for him. Keep an eye on Bristol and Betsy.
Yes, sir. Well, I wish I could remember what happened aboard that ship. I have a vague recollection of a terrible fear.
There goes Scarno. Send a Corey and Sector G4 Mercury, calling Mercury City Space Patrol Headquarters. Corey to Mercury City Headquarters. Urgent, come in.
Mercury City Space Patrol Headquarters. Commander Corey, Captain Collins here.
Captain, sound on all units alert. Intercept Star Drive Cruiser JS-14, just blasting off from Sector G4 Mercury. Doc Scarno is aboard.
Star Drive Cruiser JS-4. Yes, sir.
Get into action fast. Scarno may go into hyperspace as soon as he reaches Star Drive velocity.
Very good, sir. Do you need any help where you are?
No, thanks. There's a ship here. Happy and I will bring in two of Scarno's men.
And the Happy's there with you.
Yes, why?
We intercepted a strange message on a hyperspace receiver. Boy, claiming to be Cadet Happy sent out a disaster.
Huh?
Really? A disaster, Paul?
Captain, this is a hyperspace pickup?
Yes, sir. Somebody must be playing practical jokes. We sent out a Venus squadron and investigate just in case.
Investigate what?
Mom can't tell it. Here's a microtape recording of the message. Want to hear it?
Yes, go ahead.
Cadet Happy calling all Venus stations. Emergency. On Gantolis is erupting. Clear the lower valley immediately. Cadet Happy aboard Star Drive ship JS-14. Sound disaster alert in the Gantolis area. Well, that's it, sir. Venus headquarters sent patrols to Gantolis. There's nobody in danger. The valley is deserted. There's no sign of an eruption.
No, Captain. There isn't now, but there will be in 2 months.
I beg your pardon, sir?
And never mind, Captain. I'll contact you later. Hurry out.
Commander, it's beginning to come back. Those poor people. I saw them when the volcano erupted. The lava was falling down right over them.
Volcano may erupt 2 months from now. There'll be no one in the bunker. Let's see that.
Okay. I had no idea that hyperspace transmitter was on. Well, how come it could get through from the future back to the present?
I'm not sure, Hap. Perhaps in hyperspace, time has no past, present, or future. Maybe just one big now.
And there won't be a disaster? You mean I really changed the future?
Hap, everything we do changes the future to some extent. That's what makes living fun.
Yes, sir, you're right. And you know, I sort of hope the patrol ships don't get Scarno. I like the fun of catching him ourselves.
You do. You don't need a trip into the future to know the answer to that.
A preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Modern-day aviation has made vacations in Europe commonplace. It also has made possible intercontinental war. Of course, our country has a protective radar system, but there are gaps in this defense screen which can be penetrated by low-flying planes. To cover these blind spots, the Air Force has organized the Ground Observer Corps, the civilian component of the Air Defense Command. It operates 24 hours a day in observation posts and filter centers, reporting the presence and activity of unidentified aircraft. Right now, 150,000 more part-time volunteers are needed, men, women, and teenagers. You're asked to join. The Silver Wings of the Ground Observer Corps are a proud symbol of civilian participation in our defense. Contact your nearest Civil Defense Center. Now a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy have been taken back millions of years through time, forced out of Scarno's spaceship in a tropic jungle on the planet Earth. Stay clear of that tar pit, Hank. Get stuck in that stuff, you'd have a hard time getting out.
Oh, the rockets. What was that?
What I think it is, we're in trouble.
Hey, Commander, look. Coming out of the jungle. It's a monster.
The biggest dinosaur that ever lived. It must be 50 feet high. Yes, sure.
Wow. Look at those teeth. It could gobble us up in one bite. Dog, Happy, run!
Be with us next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, The Monster from the Past. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson. Executive producer, Helen Moser. Other players were Ken Mayer, Norman Jolly, and Tom McKee. Dick Wesson speaking. Don't forget to tune in next Saturday at this same time for an exciting adventure on Space Patrol. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.